Hey, this is Roy Skunksucker Bracket here with a live commentary kind of breakdown frame by frame type video for the Olympus Winners Finals and Grand Finals and Grand Finals reset. All of my games I played against Alucard, it was 6 in one tournament. Grueling run, I made it out on top at the end, as you might know. But it was not easy at all, and there were a lot of things that went into being able to win. I also want this video to serve as kind of like an unofficial, like high-level Wizard neutral guide, right? I'm going to touch on a lot of things that just kind of go into my game plan and my thought process. But really, above all else, this should be educational. Like, if you're trying to get better at this game, Wizard especially, then just, like, listen to me yap for a few hours. Like, listen to what I have to say, because I promise you it's going to be important and it's going to be helpful. So, a little bit of background. We're going to go into Winners Finals first. Sorry, Alt tab got stuck. Okay, so this is me versus Alucard. He's on Ninja at this point. A little bit of background. Top 8 Olympus was a separate day, right? This was a separate day of competition. We had only, this is the second game of the day, we'd only played one round so far of the tournament. Previously, I think it was a Wizard Mirror against Pleb, and I think I won that pretty convincingly. I don't even remember, if I'm being honest. But what I do remember is that Alucard played against Azea last round. Azea, very good robot player. Alucard, not confident at all in the Ninja robot matchup, right? Because it's genuinely unwinnable on this patch on 1.8.23. What he does in that game is he goes Wizard, right? A pick he really is not confident in. He doesn't like playing Wizard very much. It's just a necessity thing. And he plays the stalliest, most miserable, boring game of his life. And he wins in a game that he kind of shouldn't have. Like, Azea missed a big punish at the end. So, at this point, his mental is, like, destroyed, right? We took only, like, a 5-minute break before going into this. He is exhausted, and he is just not having a good time. He is not a happy camper. He is not enjoying the game. So, going into this, you're going to see him kind of play not like Alucard. Because what Alucard has always done is he's been a very defensive, very careful player. But the most important thing is that he doesn't miss options, right? He will check every single gust angle, he will check every single everything. You really have to pull out all the stops to surprise him. You normally just kind of have to get lucky or aggress on him really hard in order to beat him. I don't really do that in this game, because I don't really have to, because he does a lot of slipping here. So I'll just kind of show as we go in. Oh, it's like decentered. I hate that. Hold on. There we go. I don't know why that happens. I'm just gonna have to restart this replay a bunch of times. So, just some regular opening stuff. Wizard vs. Ninja kind of goes like this a lot. Backdash run start, of course, just because it's safe from both parties, right? And then we go into a lot of projectile play, right, is normally the vibe. Shurikens at this patch are not amazing, but they're pretty decent if you do them slow, just because they own a lot of space for a long time, right? You'll see what I just did, and a little bit of what he just did is a lot of this is going to revolve around micro-spacing, maneuvering to get projectile parries, because that gives you meter. It's not a lot of meter, one of the big reasons why Wizard's so broken in this patch, but it's a lot of meter for me, which you're going to see is end up mattering. So, like I said, very defensive player, Alucard, right? He's just going to go straight to the safety zone. He's going to do his summons, he's going to go straight to space, and he runs out of air options doing it. And so, like, he's normally pretty defensive. I wouldn't call him stally, but he's defensive and safe, for sure. But this is, like, not like him, right? He normally is not this careful and this crazy defensive. And it ends up actually biting him in the butt because he doesn't have air options left, right? And Wizard is incredible at anti-airing you when you have no air options. So what he does, kind of to mitigate that and expect that, is to dodge this magic art he summons out of the way, right? He does a substitute. He's gonna grapple this down summon. It's the slide kicking one, the unparryable. Trying to give himself like kind of some sort of out, right? At least let me be in your face if you're gonna be plus on block in my face, so that I can like grab a bar you or whatever, right? Or maybe by some miracle I'll parry this magic dart and I'll get to be an advantage. That doesn't end up happening because this magic dart was just conveniently angled. So what happens is that misses him, right? He parries here, expecting me to back up bolt, because like why wouldn't I, right? He doesn't have the only thing that would really avoid back up bolt is roll, which I'll touch on later. But like he's screwed, right? Ninja's air to ground is not amazing, and he's out of air options here, so he whiffs a block. I am feeling pretty safe and pretty defensive and pretty worried too at this point, so I just backdash and back off. Now, importantly, when he did that block, he like pulled in with the grappling hook, right? Because like I said, he's trying to get closer at least if he is going to be disadvantaged, right? And so we get into this situation here where he's -1 because he just whiffed a block. That's how whiff block works on this patch. If you block and nothing hits you, you get -1 block advantage put on you, right? Which is bad here because I have a bunch of buttons that suddenly just got a lot better because they're effectively 1 frame faster. So, let's see what happens. He goes... Okay, so he goes for kick, I go for Tome Slap, I gust, and then he bursts. So I'm gonna actually edit the replay here and break that down piece by piece. So what happened here is he's minus and he's got that momentum towards me, like I said. This block advantage -1 is like from last turn, actually. And so you'll see this kick, this is a Tome Slap, of course, this is what happened. Now, I didn't really have to Tome Slap here, right? It's kind of an obvious play. He could call that with a parry in this. I'm pretty sure this combos, right? Yeah, you get the restand with this, and it's going to be a pretty big punish. So you have Magma Volt as well, right? Which also beats this. And you know, if you're playing like more safely, this is probably what you're thinking about. Is okay, how do I beat like his fastest move? What are like my tightest connections here? Me though, I'm kind of known for being stupid on my own offense, right? Because what my thought process is always like, of course he's gonna block. Like I have Tome Slap and Magma Bolt, so I end up doing something really stupid and greedy. Like I just go for a Conjure Storm, right? Because look at this insane reward. Like it's the -1 Duration starter. It's gonna do a ton of damage just off the bat, and even more off of the whole combo, right? Because I have Geyser charges and stuff. So this is insanely rewarding, insanely greedy play. It's very like me to do this, right? Conjure Weapon as well. +3 on block, and kind of difficult. Like all these other buttons except for punch and kick just like lose to it now, because he's the -1, right? Like I said. So there are a lot of like weird like B plays I can go for, and kick beats all of them. Is his rationale in doing that, right? He's thinking because even Missile Form, which is pretty quick at frame 7, like loses to it, right? So he's confident here that I'm not gonna do like the tightest, safest option here, and he just calls out generally any greedy button. No specific move, but generally. So this might look like a bad play. This might look like kind of a why are you swinging here? You're stupid. But against me, he like knows the Royce Bracket matchup. This is like a smart play. But what ends up happening, of course, is I forgot how we DI'd this. I won't be able to show it for the simulations. I'm gonna set it at no DI for now. Anyway, I land this Tome Slap. The gust is important here, because what I was going for. No, the DI must have been different. How was it? The gust is important because I had a really nasty setup off of that gust, which he's gonna burst immediately upon seeing. So, what I was going for is something kind of like this. 10, can I get 11? I don't know if I can squeeze 11. Yeah, there we go, 12, okay. I do this all the time in OG combos, really important to notice. You see how that was like, it varied how plus that was, right? It was +9 at one point, +10, +12, +11. That's because you're kind of manipulating how long it takes for them to go into the landing lag animation, right? And so with Gust, because you have such fine control over it, you can change kind of exactly when they're gonna hit landing lag, and just sort of like stretch out the time that they're in hit stun and the time they're in landing lag together, and effectively it gives you more plus frames that you can land more stuff off of. So the route here is that I would restand with Conjure Weapon, and this leads into like a really high damage rate. I use meter here to instant cancel, and I Battle Clutch is the route. It's a really good route. But I would do that because early game, burst safety is really important, and off of that kind of route, Wizard can do a ton of burst save damage. So what Elkhart does is, I'll have to exit to get back to the real replay. He bursts there because he knows it's his last chance. Yeah, so I got that perfect gust angle to get. Sometimes you can even get Conjure Storm restand, which is even crazier. No meter to follow that up, it's just insane damage. But either Storm or Weapon you do the Gust with, you kind of manipulate it to be plus 11 or 12 or so, and then you can restand, and it's insane, right? He sees that, he knows it's his last chance to burst, he bursts. Good burst. Even, you'll notice, there's kind of a weird bell curve where newer players, brand new players, will burst instantly every time, right? And then kind of the mid-level, like as you figure out the game, you're like, no, that's too predictable, I can't do that, right? So they wait until they've already taken like 2,000 or 3,000 damage to burst. And then on the high level, at the top 8 of Olympus, you see people bursting hit to every single combo, right? Just because you have to think that if you get parried instantly, right, that's kind of not as bad as if you got parried 3 hits in, right? Because you're thinking, I might as well take one full combo, like a full burst punish combo, rather than one combo I could have bursted and then another for getting bursted, right? What I'm saying is they could do 1 damage and then parry you, and then 7,000 damage, or they could do 3,000 damage and then parry you, and then do 7,000 damage, right? So just numbers-wise, it's optimal to burst early, and within the first 4 hits, like past hit 4, past like 2 or 3,000 damage, it's like too late to burst. Like the risk reward isn't worth it anymore. But as far as just like sheer statistics and numbers goes, bursting first 3 hits is like optimal. You should totally do that. Like, don't get bugged out because it's predictable. Like, if they don't have a burst safe option that'll continue the combo no matter what, then like you should just go for it, honestly. Anyway, there's just some neutral there. What you'll notice I did is I jumped and then I like quickly like reversed my momentum. Like I fell back, right? I call that fast fall full hopping. There's probably a fancier name that somebody's come up with. Maybe I'll come up with a fancier name someday. But it's really important to Wizard neutral, is jumping in and then backwards jumping out, right? I can show you here. I can repeat the replay. So like here, I'll get in the air here. Why can't I fast fall? Oh, it's because it's on this side. Anyway, after the super jump, you can see this move right here, fast fall full hopping, incredibly important to Wizard neutral. You need to be doing this constantly, because you can be flying in, right, threatening like your missile forms, like your conjure weapons, and your fast fall icicles, all kinds of crazy stuff Wizard's capable of. But the most important thing is being able to not act on that threat, right? So I fast fall full hop away a bunch in this game, and in all of my other games against him, just because it's safe a lot of the time, and fast falling nominally kind of costs a resource with the gravity bar, but this barely costs anything at all. It's effectively 0, right? So you can think of it as like an airborne backdash that doesn't really even give you much sadness either. It's just an insane defensive option that you should be doing. It's like airborne footsies is what I'd say most Wizard gameplay is. So anyway, I'm gonna catch back up. Yeah, so around here. Okay. So you'll see I used that again. I did B-hops actually, which, if you don't know, are some of the most important Wizard tech you can know. You just fast fall in missile form in the air. I'll break the replay one more time just to show. Can I even do it from this height? I can, yeah. Fast fall missile form, right? This is effectively a mid-air super jump. It touches the ground, resets your air options. So if I had 1 here, then it would reset it back to 2, right? Carries a ton of momentum and is ready in only 30 frames, right? So all of that, like on a surface level, might not sound crazy, but just mixing it in with your normal game plan will just make everything so much better because of how precisely you can position yourself. And not just precisely, but like the raw strength of it is so cool too, right? Like, is Ninja punishing this here? Like, no. Hell no. Never, right? If you were like 2 whole units closer, you couldn't punish this. So it's good for running away. It's good for running away against robots especially. It's good for running past people, and it's good for approaching, right? The important part is the momentum it carries, right? Because look at what happens here. In combos, it's especially nuts, because I B-hopped last turn, and it's like I super jumped, right? It's honestly better than super jump in most cases. I'm just carrying so much momentum that this is gonna allow me to combo and just like do whatever, right? You can even follow up off of Geyser if you do this sometimes. I'm not kidding you, right? It just carries such insane momentum, and movement and precise positioning is really important with all this microspacing in this game. Anyway, I'm gonna let the replay actually play out. Okay, so there, the same interaction that happened earlier with the tome slap onto his kick, right? Kind of happened in reverse. He got what he wanted out of the grapple hook this time, because it put him kind of in like a closer angle. On that turn where I blocked that kick, I was not safe to backdash, right? Because he had the important option of not doing his grappling hook, right? I think in the example I showed where I tome slapped him and I got that starter, I didn't actually, like, he had done the grapple pull, like, he had gained the momentum already, so he couldn't really stop himself from going in. But what he could do there, in that situation where I just blocked that kick, is he could use a nunchuck to catch my backdash, right? And so I parried that, and then he did kick, which is 5 frames, so I didn't get the parry. And then instead of using that +1 aggressively, because it was in the mid-range, he couldn't really do anything with it, he just backed off and did shuriken, which is like fair enough, right? Knowing that, I kind of b-hop in on him and start aggressing, just because I want to make something happen here, right? You'll notice I try and not misinform, which is like insane of me. I think I was expecting like store momentum here. Not really sure what I was shooting for. Sometimes I just get bored and do that, and it'll work, honestly, even against the best players. Because there he has that shuriken as like a projectile shield, right? He thinks he's safe here, but no, he ain't. So yeah, like, Wizard can threaten you in a ton of situations, especially when he's in the air. Being in the air, using the air, playing in the air, and managing this gravity bar here is the most important thing I can tell you about Wizard. Second most, maybe. He's expecting Geyser here, this is important, but not level 3 Geyser. Level 3 Geyser comes out in 13 frames. It's a frame faster for punishing the combo and stuff. He parries on frame 14, expecting me to not really go greedy and use my entire resource bar for this Geyser. Because I do expend all 3 droplets that I had to work kind of hard for with all these projectile parries and hits and stuff. So, I wasn't really reading anything in particular here. Geyser would have punished grappling hook, would have punished shuriken, right? So I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? I was not reading any of that. I did not think this guy's going to summon here. It's really important. Whenever I hit you with Geyser, that was not a read. I hit you on accident. What I'm doing when I throw out Geyser is I'm thinking, okay, I want Orb, right? I want Spark Bomb. I preferably want both, in the best case, right? What I can do is I can just toss out a Geyser. There's a kind of a 50-50 on whether you parry it, right? Even if you're expecting it, like you see here. And if you do anything else, like movement or, like, you know, let's say you, like, dash at him, right? Then you're forced to block that on reaction because it's a melee move now. And you get meter for that because it's chip damage, right? If he does, like, a setup move, like a, you know, cowboy gun or, like, any projectile, then it'll hit him and you'll get a lot of damage and a lot of meter, right? So you just use Geyser as part of your meter economy. Like, pressing Geyser is not like a super hype call out, it's not like a super hype hard read. You should stop thinking about it like that. Like, it's the button you press when you feel like getting a little bit more meter. It turns water into meter, like Jesus Christ, okay? That's what Geyser does. That's how you should think about it. Anyway, he blocks that and it's kind of minus, but the plus frames don't really matter this far. So I'm gonna super jump in. Wizard super jump is really good for approaching. It's effectively short hop into B hop, but like one turn and a little more dangerous. If you want to go in as Wizard, and you want to play aggressive, you should spam super jump a bunch, or if you want to be kind of in the middle, like a little bit more careful, you should short hop into B hop. Because I showed you B hopping earlier, it's the missile form stuff. They effectively carry you the same distance, but one is like a, hey, I wait a second and react type turn, and one of them is like an immediate, like 16 frames, like I'm going in now, and it's a bit harder to disengage out of the super jump. But anyway, like I was saying, I super jumped into Dart, right, just because I want more projectiles on the screen. I want to be able to threaten Gust. I want to just expand my sphere of influence here so that he won't have any save options. He does have a save option. Because Magic Dart got nerfed to 16 frames of recovery, what he's going to do is once again actually lose his air options, so I don't super agree with this play. What he does is he air dashes at the dart on reaction, because I went like -2 or something frame advantage after I pressed that dart, just got kind of a longer recovery now. So he air dashes at that, and this one that was already up here, and then parries it, right? He air dashes close up to it so he can parry it on the next turn. And using that momentum that he built from that air dash, he's going to go right out of that into a store momentum, which I don't think I could punish here, because I'm one air option too. I think if I like hover missile formed, I could have punished it, but I don't think there's really like a ton I can do here. And this shuriken is causing issues as well, right? So pretty good play from him. Let's see what I do. Okay, so once again, like I said, he runs out of air options, right? Which is really bad against Wizard. Because I'll edit this turn as well. There's a couple important turns in this game that I wanna just like point out. So this magic dart, right, is ruining his day. I can just kind of do nothing and punish whatever he does, right? Like jump kick, like yeah, whatever, like I don't care, right? He has boost now, which he can use kind of aggressively. But I had it a second ago. Oh, whatever. He has a bunch of boost punishes, a bunch of like jump kick plays. He could like the safest thing he could do is, funny enough, boost uppercut the hell out of there, which costs both of his valuable resources, his last free cancel and his boost, so he does not want to do that, right? Blocking here, I can just kind of like call out anything that's not blocking safely just by like short hopping, just otherwise waiting. I can get really greedy here and like conjure weapon into him and be +3, right? So he's out of air options and the dart is giving him all kinds of advantage, right? Giving me all kinds of advantage rather. Again, like I said, I'm kind of greedy on my advantage state. I do all kinds of just like wayward conjure weapons and stuff whenever I know I have the leverage for it, right? So what he does is he rolls in. Now what I did is I went for kind of a safer play. This was kind of cool of me, I think. What this does here, this magic, this Bolt of Magma, is if he does any kind of boost play, right, trying to like, oh, I'm gonna call out his backdash, I'm gonna get his ass with jump kick or whatever, then Bolt of Magma covers that, right? But you'll notice if he blocks and doesn't get any momentum, then it just kind of whiffs, right? It just doesn't, it's not like parryable here at all. And, important thing about Magma Bolt, it has such absurdly low recovery that I can punish roll on reaction, which is like crazy good, right? If he rolls out, I can gust this, I can gust Magic Guard into him. If he rolls in, like you'll see in a sec, I Mana Strike him, right? So, Magma Bolt is a really important tool in Wizard's Kit for reasons that aren't obvious at all. Mainly what it does is not be an anti-air or a jump call out, right? It can totally do that, it's amazing at that. But mainly what it does is it kind of like puts the cork on situations like this. Because without a move as like huge and rewarding and fast and fast to recover as Magma Bolt is, you sort of like, how do I put this? It makes so many of your fake setups real, right? Because like otherwise, like you saw just a second ago, it was fleeting but beautiful. He can like go for like dive kick reads, like on my short hop or whatever, right? And even like Cowboy could like air dash away or something like that, right? You'll see this is useful in like flame wave block strings for sure against Cowboy. He'll try to do his like diagonal dash because that's a little bit of projectile involved. You can just toss this out to catch roll while keeping him still, right? So that's what I say when I say it makes fake setups real. This is what I mean, right? It closes off that last sort of exit and kind of forces them to just sit there and hold your mix. And if they don't, then you can punish roll on reaction. Unfortunately, just because of the momentum and the micro spacing here, it's the outer hitbox, the Vanish Strike, right? I don't get to full combo off of this, which is, you can see it's just like pixels away from hitting inwards instead of outwards, so that's so sad. It's because if you DI this correctly on reaction, then I can't even like geyser that, right? So I don't get a full punish off of this, but I get to turn that into 600 damage and some more meter, right? The meter is super important for Wizard, so it's worth it anyway. He kind of took his safest out, which I respect. If he had gone -1 there, it could have turned way worse for him. So it's a decent play by him, but I covered for it, because Wizard's just so good at option coverage. And that's the thing, it wasn't a read, right? That was not a read. I had no idea he was going to roll, I didn't even see it, honestly. Like, I saw that it was a thing he could do, but I wasn't thinking about it, because it's kind of risky, right? What I did, is I did a safe option that was just rewarding and good, and covered everything he could do, right? I made it a checkmate, I made it so he had no escape. That's what Yomi Hustle is about, and especially what Wizard is about. There's no hard reads that have happened so far. There's no I'm in your head callouts. It's just been me doing good options that just win because they're good options. Right? Because a good option means that it beats a lot of your options. Right? And that beat all of his options. It was reward. It was guaranteed reward. It was reward no matter what he did. So that's what Yomi Hustle is about, and what high level Wizard is about. Is finding those checkmates, finding those not really a read, just getting turns like that. Because especially for this version of Wizard. As you'll see soon, that type of thing, it pays off huge. Even if it's incremental. So I'll just slow motion back through this. I want you to watch my meter, because you see that super jump, you see how much meter that build? It's kind of insane, right? And Ninja is not the best at anti-airing. He can't really even punish that super jump. Even with boost sometimes he can. It's sort of insane. So I'm kind of like overachieving here. When I get 3 meter, I normally just immediately summon Orb. But I want more here. I want Spark Bomb and Orb, because I know it's a combo that can really mess up Ninja. So I do that. And so, on reaction here, I forgot to show it, but Spark Bomb has this property where if they're ready before, after rather 8 frames, then Spark Bomb is like free cancelled, effectively. Like you're ready on their turn. It's hard to, you don't go minus free using Spark Bomb most of the time, so you have kind of higher APM. APM is really important on the Wizard, just doing more stuff per turn and squeezing in more value for your neutral in like a denser space. So, Spark Bomb, right? Flame Wave is just good here, kind of forces him into the air, there's not much you can do about it, because if he tries to go in through the ground with like a slide kick or like a jump kick, I can just conjure one with that every time. And on block that he's like -3 there, right? So he's kind of stuffed out from the ground entirely whenever I press this button. I B-hop at him aggressively here. I'm trying to make it look like I'm going to do some sort of insane spark delay, right? Because I can use my toggle to like speed up my missile form and just own him, right? Just delete him out of the sky here. But I don't, because I'm playing safe and I just want to like back off and see what he does, right? And you'll notice I also made him use another air option, which has worked out well for me twice so far. So I go for the parry here. This is tricky. Not everybody sees this. You can fast fall while blocking. At least for now you can on Wizard, right? So I jump up for this parry, and then fast fall into the other one, and then immediately go into the orb, just to build a little bit of extra meter and get these shurikens out of my face, so that I don't have to worry about, I don't know, getting palm striked into them later or something like that. So I get my orb up, and immediately, the very first thing I do after I get orb, you can see why it's so good. Because like I said, APM, it's more value per turn, density in your actions, right? And what I do here is I Magic Dart immediately, which summons 2 projectiles. Like, isn't that kind of insane? 2 projectiles per turn, and both of them are incredibly good. And, because he's not dashing in here, and he's playing kind of passive still, what this means is if he had dashed in here, I can just tell, just based on vibes, that he probably would have gotten the parry on this Orb Dart, and that would have kind of messed me up, right? But because he backdashes here, the spacing and timing is just kind of awkward, right? Like I can tell just by looking at it that he's probably not going to be able to parry this Magic Dart, this Orb Dart rather safely. And I did that kind of on accident as a free action while I was messing with my Magic Dart, right? And I've got Spark Bomb, because like I said, I can detonate that whenever I want, and increase my missile form threat range to like 1,000, right? So I gushed at him, this was completely safe, completely unpunishable, and like if he shurikened or anything, that would have punished it. He gets a grapple onto this Orb Dart, which is weird. I don't know if he ends up using that for anything useful. It goes onto the ground, never mind. This is a weird interaction here. I tried to B-hop at this kunai here to parry it, right, because I want more meter, I want to keep Orb up for long. But he jumps, which causes the Magic Dart to like home in on him, right? And they destroy each other. So it's not impactful at all, it's just kind of weird. I say, okay, whatever. Conveniently enough, that B-hop micro-spaced me over this down summon, this Legic thing here. Which, by the way, this isn't even left like Ninja. Like, I'm sorry to say. Like, this looks like it's... I've never understood this spray. It looks like a dragonfly, almost. But anyway, I fast fall Ice Cold over it. That's 10 frames. Can't punish that, right? Just to get my orb up. And then, you know, from that B-hop, this is another crazy thing about B-hopping, is that it triggers the Orb Dart, right? It triggers a projectile. So you can approach, build meter, get into an advantage position, because you have fast fall, right? And spawn a projectile all at the same time. I might have repeated myself there, I don't know. But B-hopping with Orb Out is insane neutral. It's really good. And then you combine that with the safe, like, fast fall full hop that I showed. You can just kind of be untouchable, while your opponent is very touchable, right? So anyway, the Orb Sword doesn't even come out. I'm doing that, just because I know that that's kind of good for closing in on Ninja and ruining his day. But yeah, I've got so much meter left, it's like whatever, right? Just because I've gotten all these parries, it's kind of extended by a couple more turns this orb. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to keep doing my projectiles. I'm going to get my BOGO deal here once again, and I'm just going to keep playing neutral. Tries to go for a parry or something, tries to avoid my gusts, or this is just some good old young practice. Okay, this turn, super important. So, I want to go back to what I said earlier. Ellicard never misses an option, right? Very meticulous. He just rapid fire checks everything and just understands it, right? I've seen him like stream his game in Discords before, and it's insane watching how fast he clicks through all these options. Usually, last I remember, anyway. So, what I did here was a gusted spark bomb, right? I could have done this, and I could have also done like a lane cancel icicle, other safe options. The issue here, though, is that I'm not necessarily safe because Ninja has boost, and Ninja with boost extends your threat range a crazy amount. Like if I do my normal like fast fall full hop, like this kind of safe disengage, right? He not really. I mean, he can't punish this, but he can get close, right? He can at least threaten to threaten me, or you know, expect passivity here and just full dash in and be winning, right? So I'm thinking, how do I stop this? Well, conveniently enough, Spark Bomb lasts forever, right? It's insane. So I'm thinking he might try and block that. He might try and boost jump kick to get past it. So there are a couple things that could happen here. Is if I angled it like this to kind of hit him for blocking, right? Or you know, hit him for shurikening or whatever else. If I just like shot straight and did it right at him, then boost jump kick like wouldn't work, right? I mean, sorry, it wouldn't work for me. It would work for him, and I'd get full punish. And he knows how to route burst safe on Ninja. I would be kind of screwed, right? So what I do is I kind of miss with the spark bomb on purpose, right? Because you look versus hold, this kind of doesn't hit, right? Versus block, this only barely hits. I think I might have even done it lower, so that if he blocks here, this kind of gives me pressure, right? Because of the -1. I can't gust it again, but I can like jump in and do the spark toggle, right? So this once again was not a read. I thought he might jump kick. I did not know he would, right? You can't call this a read realistically, because if I do this and I DI up, like he's not getting a combo off the slide kick. It is just a very safe option. Which ignore the please ignore that. Yep, please ignore this nut check. Generally very safe option. Very hard for him to call out. That is incredibly rewarding and incredible to get. Because this is a Spark Bomb starter, unscaled, all 1700 on him immediately, right? And the combo I get on it is kind of whack. I'll speed up and show Okay, so I go into Magma Bolt there. That's kind of a DI read. I thought he would DI, like, out for Zephyr, right? There's a couple good options I could do there, but generally, if your opponent's, like, in the air, and you can't get, like, a Gust restand, which I couldn't, because you can't Gust 2 turns in a row, then usually what you want to do when you have a ton of hit stuff like that, is just Magma Bolt, right? Or Backblast, even if you have a good DI read. Like, Wizard's air combos are fine, right? On some other characters, it's like, oh man, this combo launched, it like went into the air, that's so sad. But on Wizard, that's fine, because you have Icicle, and you have D-Hop, you have Combustion. Like, your air combos are broken, like, they're so consistent, which is not something that any other character can really say. Cowboy can, but he has to drain all his meter for it, right? So, what I do here is, it's kind of whack, like, I normally wouldn't do this. Generally, whenever I land a hit while Orb is out, I try and Orb Portal as soon as possible, because, number one, Orb Portaling is burst safe, right? It dodges burst when you press Orb Portal, and you can punish it sometimes. Number two, Orb damage really isn't that great if your opponent knows how to DI. Because it's a lot of, like, it's death by 1,000 cuts, right? It's a lot of little small hits, which is not good, right? Yumi Hazel combo theory is normally about landing your hugest hits early, which is why Spark Bomb starter is so insane, right? Because combo scaling, if you didn't know this, every hit you do in a combo does less damage than the last, right? There's like a multiplier that goes down and down and down with each hit of the combo. Orb is going to add a lot of hits to that combo, even though they're high damage hits, it just generally is not optimal damage. So what I do is I Magma Bolt, I tell my orb to go long so I can portal to it. But instead of portaling to it, I see something insane I can do. I can super jump Conjure Weapon, and conveniently, I get Deus Ex Machina by this magic card here. And I get to cancel off of it and combo, right? This was burst safe. He couldn't have bursted any of this. I would have just comboed him anyway. And now, this, I think he could have bursted this Mana Kick, but he doesn't want to, because remember, he's already taken 4k, right? If I burst parry it here, then this could kill. Like, game could be over, right? So, even if I don't route burst safe here, it's kind of too late for him to burst. Which is why it's so important, number one, to route burst safe early in your combos so they can't burst those first few hits, and number two, to make those first few hits count so much, so that it's not, like, rational for them to burst anymore. So, just to be safe, and because I know it would look sick if he was an idiot and pressed burst, I just burst parry here, right? And it was safe because of the orb, it like connected on him no matter what, like whether I blocked or not, so I was just kind of killing frames and getting back to the ground there. So yeah, that's a burst safe combo route. Now I do my portal. This is an important turn. This is not my greatest combo, it's like 4k, it's like decent, it's kind of what you'd expect off of a combo when orbs out, because it can kind of mess up your routing. But what I do is I portal there into Vile Clutch, dropping my combo on purpose, right? Because the Vile Clutch has him in, it hits right after he gets up from his knockdown state, right? Vile Clutch hits on, I think, frame 19, so that makes it really good for, if it says like plus 21, and they're about to be in the knockdown. Important thing people don't know is that you kind of have to subtract 20 from your frame advantage there to figure out what you can actually hit, right? So if my opponent looks like he's going to be in knockdown in predictions, and it says plus 26, that means in reality I have 6 frames to hit him before he's in knockdown, because there are 20 frames of that knockdown animation max. What I'm getting at, though, is that in those plus 20, plus 21 situations, where you can't really hit him, you have Vile Clutch, which is insane, because it can set up for block string pressure like this. So he goes for push block here, right, to reduce that chip damage. I don't really care about that. I'm just going to go for Conjure Weapon, because I've been researching this really broken tech you can do on Wizard, that does not end up working out for me. I'll show you what it is, though. I believe this is fixed on Unstable. It's a thing exclusive to this patch, so have fun. What you can do is if you block to, like, mirror their block, like, I'm plus 3 here, right? It says minus 3 because it's from Ellicard's PoE, because he's player 1. But what I do is I mirror block, I parry for the gold burst, well, I guess I don't really have to here. But, every attack in this game has hit stop, or hit lag, as it's called, right? It's just a couple freeze frames on hit, or on block that are applied, just to make hits, excuse me, look more juicy. So, there's an exploit you can do with that, where if you block while they block, they will be stuck in these hit stop frames, but you will not. Because normally, hit stop or hit lag, as it's called, gets applied to both players, right? It's a freeze frame, it's like a universal thing. It affects all players, but not like projectiles and stuff. So, I honestly don't even know how it works, but if you block while they block sometimes off of a really high hit stop move like Conjure Weapon, like these really juicy looking hits, sometimes what you can do is you can make the UI like kind of lie, right? Because here, I'm able to connect like Mana Strike, right? This beats a roll for some reason. The UI doesn't say that I'm like plus 5, and roll is frame and villain on like frame 3, right? But Mana Strike here, because of the hit stop exploit, like they're stuck still for more frames than you would think. So what I was trying to do there is extend my block advantage to put them in this like unwinnable situation here, and then go crazy on the chip damage, and drain all of his meter, and get orb back out, right? That was my grand plan. What he does, because he knows about it, is like, this guy's like not gonna attack me, he's just gonna block again. So I block here, and he flipped slide kicks. Zoom out of here. This is something Ninja's really good at, is disengaging like that. I think that's the last time I'm gonna break the replay, and make you rewatch all this again. But that was important to point out, because I tried this a second time on him in one of the Grand Finals games, and it didn't, like, he knew about it, like, it didn't work. I didn't really know that he knew, I didn't talk to him about it, I was kind of we were trying to kind of keep it on the DL so I could pull out some weird, crazy exploit victory in grand finals, but he knew, so it's like whatever. I threw my advantage 2 times, but at least I didn't punish for it. Anyway, neutral. Flame Wave again. I mean, he has to jump here, right? You see a Flame Wave, you jump a Flame Wave. That's just how Ninja's life has been for forever, and I hope it always stays that way. Cause screw Ninja. I B-hop away here. Like I said, it's really good for running away and staying safe. And again, I just let loose a full geyser because I want my meter, right? I had no idea. Again, I hit this. I had no idea what he was going to do. That was not a read, right? I wasn't reading, oh, maybe he'll do a projectile. I had no idea. I had no clue, okay? What I felt like was tossing this move out. If he does some kind of safe, like, wave dash, like, land cancel type thing, where he just, like, slides into the ground, then he'll be able to react to this and block it. But that's whatever, because that's chip damage for me, which is meter for me, right? If he does kind of that no impact land dash, it was kind of a longer dash he did, then it'll hit. If he does like grapple or projectile or summon or whatever, this will hit, right? So it's not a read. I was not in his head here. I was just tossing shit out and it just worked, because that's just how Wizard works. Okay, so he goes hard with a boosted upchuck here, which again I want to say, like, really stress here that this Vow Clutch here, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hold on. Okay, so he goes for like an insane upchuck approach, right? I wouldn't call it a read because it just kind of beats everything, but Ninja can do this. It's 5 frames, right? It's Mana Strike. It clashes with Tome Slap. Like, there's a lot that it just beats, right? Beats backdash, and most importantly, you can't just jump over it like you can every one of Ninja's attacks. It's just a really good approach option, right? Alucard sees, I can't really roll in here because of this, right? And roll out, nobody ever rolls out. It's kind of bad, right? So if I'm feeling pressured by Ninja, what I'm most likely going to do here is jump, right? So this isn't a jump call out, this isn't a jump read. He's not going for, oh, I'm going to own you so hard with a dropkick. It would be sick, but he doesn't have to, right? He's a good player, so he's going to do this good option that just beats that on accident, right? As well as, like, most of my kit. So what I do is I'm thinking about that option, right? I'm thinking about a bunch of other stuff he has, like Boost Punch, Boost Dropkick, Boost Uppercut, right? There's a lot of stuff you can do with Boost here that's very, very messy. I'm going to toss out a Tome Slap, because as you see, that is 12 frames of recovery, not very much at all. Like, versus Short Hop, like the most passive thing you can do in this game, as +2, right? Tome Slap is incredibly hard to punish without a parry. So, I'm thinking, this guy's going to go right into me. He's not going to punch, because surely he doesn't want to get backdashed on, right? He doesn't want to get, like, grabbed on. He doesn't, like, he's not going to punch. I just feel that in my bones. So what I think is, Tome Slap is safe versus pretty much everything else, right? And here this is a trade, but like I DI out and I'm fine. So what I'm thinking is, I'll just toss this out, and it'll keep me safe for most of his good options here. Which I was correct on. So he uses his boost up, and we get a clash here. Both getting a free cancel back in the process. So, now what I do, this is what I was saying, I want to stress that his mental was like not good, he was not playing in his prime here. Normally what everybody does on Compyomi is just kind of has DI down by default in case you get grabbed, so that you just don't get like crazy full comboed or anything. Like imagine let's say he was DIing up my combo earlier and he just left that on, like bye bye, GG, right? Look at that, it's crazy. But it's like normally, I think he did no DI here. So normally Wizard Grab is kind of bad, it doesn't really give you reward because there's no time to like react and do anything. But now I'm +21, right? Which, like I said, is incredible for Wizard because of Vile Clutch. So I'll show you what happens. Ninja is a bit more resilient, doesn't really care as much about your projectile traps, but like generally what this does is, because Vile Clutch is an on-the-ground hitbox, you can't really just like hold and chill and stay down there. Tech Dodge is kind of throwing most of the time, because I can geyser that. It's not a bad option here, but like it is a bad option generally. So he just gets up. And now, this is hitting 1 frame from now. This is hitting on the first frame of this prediction. So yeah, he can tech dodge, and he can like uppercut and get hit. But like if he's not ninja and he doesn't have an insane move like jump kick, he can't do anything here. He's like locked down by this. And what's crazy powerful in this game, Cowboy's really good at this too, is this kind of asynchronous lockdown, right? Because I'm +2, but I'm +2 like on accident. I'm +2 incidentally. I'm not having to touch him to be +2 on block here, right? It's just kind of free. So what I can do is I can use this turn, because I don't have to spend it hitting him with a melee attack to get my +2. I can use this turn approaching, or like spark bombing, or geysering just to make it tight and catch the roll, right? I can do whatever I want this turn to kind of increase my position. So these sort of asynchronous lockdowns are very important for Wizard, and just for Yomi in general. Cowboy's very good at them too. You need to know them on Cowboy. On Cowboy, it comes in the form of double bouncing your bullets, such that they hit on this turn and they hit on the next turn. Like you gotta milk this as much as you can because it's a limited resource. He grapples my Spark Bomb. I don't know what the point of this was. It's kind of funny though. It might have given him a parry. But if you parry a Spark Bomb, it like still gives me the install. It still gives me like the Spark Speed Boost. So it's not. If you parry a Spark Bomb, you generally are doing that just to get it out of your face, which is important on Ninja for sure, because Ninja hates Spark Bomb. Because it also ignores projectile invuln. Like you can't jump kick through this, which makes it very useful for zoning him out. So again, his mental is destroyed. He's playing incredibly passive. And he runs out of air options again for like the 3rd or 4th time. So I'm just going to play some neutral, I'm just going to Flame Wave. And as I pass by the Spark Bomb, I say, you know what, he's over here, he's not getting hit by this ever, the Spark Bomb's so slow. So I decide to cash out on it, I use my Spark Toggle to detonate it, and I get my, my speed install, right? The reason this is so good is because it makes Missile Form an insane move. It lets you threaten to hit them in 10 frames from absurd ranges. Like if I'm standing here as Wizard and he's standing here, like if I'm on the ground, I can Missile Form him from this range and threaten him, and he has to do something about it. He can't just frame kill it by like backdashing or like short hopping or whatever. So I decide, you know what, I want to close out this game, I'm feeling myself, so I go ahead and get that online. And eventually, he backdashes through the air to the ground, and because of my conveniently placed Magic Dart once again, I would be a little bit lying to you if I said this was on purpose, but it's like only a little bit. Like it was a little bit on purpose to get these crazy Magic Dart alley-oops like this. It just kind of happens naturally when you're good at Wizard, and you're good at managing your dart angles to come in useful like later TM. So like what I can recommend is do really shallow, slow dart angles on Wizard, and you can have insane things like this happen. I block because it's burst safe, and the Magic Dart comes in and picks up the kill no matter what. So I parry burst there if he bursts, and the Magic Dart kills him if he doesn't. So that's a burst safe finish off of a Magic Dart I did like 3 turns ago. Yeah, and that's winners finals. But as you'll see, Grand Finals was not nearly so one-sided. So strap in for that. Okay, Grand Finals 1. Important game. So, if you've seen Elkart's video on this, you'll know that he got kind of a long break after Winners Finals to collect himself, and ended up winning a Ninja Mirror against Hunter with a couple of lucky reads. But going into Grand Finals, he decided, you know what, I'm so tired, I'm so burnt out, that in Grand Finals I'm going to do something special. I'm going to do something that nobody would ever expect me to do, just to go out on my own terms. And what he does is he plays Cowboy. He joins in Grand Finals on stream and selects Cowboy, in a patch where Cowboy is indisputably the worst character in the game. It doesn't matter to him. He's going out on his own terms. He feels comfortable with the tools that he has. A lot has changed about him, but enough hasn't. and he still manages to whoop my ass once or twice. So, we start playing neutral. I mean, he walks back around start, that's punishable, right? At this point, he's just going off of muscle memory. He's doing what he knows how to do. I do my normal magic dart. Pretty much everything you see, it's important to point out. Wizard versus Cowboy, usually, all of Wizard's options are, like, call-outable. Like, he could have impaled this, or, like, lightning sliced it, right? I just sort of assumed that he wouldn't, because that's not the type of player he is to do that 2 turns into the game. So, he's gonna play pretty safe in general. I just kind of assume that he won't shoot here, and even if he does, again, this was not like a read for anything. I short hop back here, because if he shoots, the bullet can't travel from here to down here in 10 frames, and I'm able to check that. So this was safe versus bullet, and it lets me safely destroy this foresight the next turn as well. So I mana strike it. He doesn't have meter for ITP. Oh, for the new people, so whenever comp players say ITP, they mean instant teleport. That's what Cowboy's teleport used to be called, because way back in the day he could do that for free, and then that got split into an unmetered one and a level 1 super. Nowadays, it's just renamed to teleport, and the level 1 super is all that exists. So, little history lesson for you there. If I say ITP, I mean instant teleport. I mean the purple teleport that's level 1 that Cowboy has. Anyway, what I'm saying is, he doesn't have that right now. Which means, and also because he's in the air, he doesn't have impale, this mana strike is not punishable. So I opt to just destroy the foresight he put down to gain meter, which you'll see it's not a lot of meter, but it's meter, right? And like you saw in that first game, the breakpoints for getting orb and getting spark bomb, etc., you really don't need spark bomb, it's only really good against ninja. But mainly just getting orb, it's super important to be every inch ahead on that as you can. So I take my safe turn to destroy the foresight. I've kind of got nothing better to do down here. I super jump at him. I get really aggressive. I super jump into B-hop, assuming that he'll like back off or block or do something here. Because I just want to make something happen. I want to open this game up with a bang. So I B-hop at him, and this is an important interaction. Good tip for the Wizard Cowboy matchup, because I know a lot of people still struggle with that. So because I just conveniently B-hopped at the same angle he upward swiped, honestly, I don't remember if this was intentional or not, but I'm in conjure weapon range, right? And what that means is that I think if I hover here, yeah, if I hover here, this is a frame 1 meaty. This hits 1 frame from his next turn. He can spot dodge and then maybe air dash down to kind of mitigate it. But maybe not seeing it, maybe just trying to cover all the options in case I get greedy and don't do that, he shoots at me, right? And is forced to block this turn, because like I said, frame 1 meaty, right? Conjure weapon's 11 frames, this shoot took 10 frames, so you do the math, right? He can't roll here, like he can't burst because I punish it on reaction, like it's just too fast. So he blocks this and goes -5, which is nuts in the air. That means that Mana Strike is effectively frame 1. And so this is what I mean when I said earlier that I'm kind of known for getting greedy on my advantage, because remember the block lag tech, right? Where you block while plus, and it kind of magically like makes the prediction numbers lie here, and extends your effective block advantage. It messes with its stop, right? It's an exploit that makes you crazy plus. I would have been like +8 or some crazy shit up here. I go for that because I'm desperate to land it because it would be so cool, because Grim Zealot from Yomi Learn labbed that and really wanted me to use it. So anyway, I go for that, right? And I parry on this gold burst timing. I can't even remember what frame it was. It's like, you always, if you're trying to pull this tech off, you go ahead and parry the gold burst timing in case they just want to get out of here. Whatever, I can't find it. Anyway, it like didn't work. He like rolled in, or something like that. So at this point, I didn't go for it again. I just went for normals. I just went for like Icicle, right? That would have caught roll. Went for Mana Strike. That catches roll as well here. Oh, I guess not. Weird. Anyway, I start going for really normal, really safe options in my block strings after this, because it's very clear that he knows about this exploit, and is prepared to deal with it. So, anyway, that's our first reset. Anyway, yeah, so I think he just held block there. But what proved to me that he knew about it, is that he rifted there on the turn where I blocked to force me to block and make me go minus. And then he went for a crazy parry read here, which left him minus again. So it was just this weird like back and forth pendulum of us being minus and the other person being minus. So I fast full hop back. I think he parried Conjure Weapon here. He parried frame 11, which is like fair enough. No reason not to, really. I whiff a Mana Strike. You'll notice I don't think I free canceled that. Mana Strike is a move where you can get away with not free canceling a lot. This is a privilege Wizard has, where Tome Slap, Mana Strike, and Magma Bolt. All three of these moves, generally, you kind of don't need to free cancel. Sometimes you should free cancel mana, but like if you're hitting at the tip of its range, especially if you're in the air, you really just don't need to, because if they're going to backdash and avoid it, they're not punishing you anyway, and they're not going to like full dash and get much momentum off of it either, just because Wizard has really privileged recovery frame data. So that's an important thing. A bunch of his moves, the Conjure Weapon you have to free cancel or else you're getting punished, but like most of his moves are fast enough that you can get away with not doing that, and you'll see later on that ends up being really important. I Magma Bolt again, a really safe move. I just destroyed the Foresight for free, right? Again, I'm building meter faster than he is here. The Conjure Weapon on block earlier also was a huge part of that. If you go back and watch, chip damage does a lot of meter gain for you, which is again why Geyser is so good and why you should be looking for little random neutral meaties like that, because it gets you into plus frames, which is pretty good, especially if you have Orb out. And more importantly, it gets you to Orb if you don't have Orb out. So yeah. I just short hop again. I had another, I didn't really plan for this, but I had a bunch of safe short hops that avoided bullet and let me block it on reaction, right? Just to avoid like getting Sadness is another huge thing you'll see come into play here, because we're both playing Super Pass and Stolly. Sadness is going to matter, and whiffing block, like blocking while nothing hits, will give you Sadness. He's trying to exploit that by taking out his gun and making me want to block, but I'm not falling for it. I'm taking the safe option I have, which is short hop back. So I might have to block it, right? But I don't have to, there's not that opportunity cost of maybe you whip a block, and maybe you get Sadness, right? So it's just optimal play, staying safe guaranteed this turn, and then, okay, maybe I'll eat some chip damage next turn if he shoots, whatever. But he's also playing very good Cowboy. He's being stingy with his resources here, and not really wasting bullets. He does it again. I super dash at him. This is like after he holsters his gun. I think I like backdash there, but I kind of had a feeling he would air backdash. I don't know, I just had a feeling. So I super dashed at him, I gain a ton of meter from it, and I get him into this mid-range situation. Where this jump here, another really strong thing about Wizard is that if you do like high, like just barely forward these full jumps, oftentimes in mid-range like this, they're just not punishable. Like even Cowboy, who has H slash and like up H slash and like backslash, he just couldn't punish this at all. Nothing he could do. So he actually teleports into my jump to play close range air RPS, which is kind of a weird choice because air to air point blank is normally kind of fake. Because generally, air throw, air grab is really hard to punish. Cowboy though, depending on spacing, is one of few characters who really can. He can use spot dodge, right, and be +5, and that will lead into vertical slash optimistically, right? So he's one of the only characters who can full combo punish an air throw. Wizard can as well, also very situational. You can like fast fall magic guard at them, but there's never any guarantees. So he teleports into my face. I fast fall and then block the vertical slash in case he's feeling fancy. I don't know, but he rolls in. So he's just like playing odd. That kind of wasn't worth his resource, but I don't know, maybe there's something I'm missing. Like his mental is still not great. You can tell he's feeling better, or at least you'll be able to tell that next game. He just sets up his foresight zoning, you know, just covering all his options with that. I barely whiff a gust on him. I was trying to hit him with his magic art, but it just barely grazes his feet. Takes out his gun again. This time, I don't know what I was cooking here. I jumped straight at him and DI'd down. I was just that confident that he wasn't going to shoot. I don't know, man. I could have lost the game instantly for that. Again, just safely destroying. That gives him enough frames on reaction while I'm still recovering here to dash in and parry the dart, though, which is a tiny little tiddlywinka meter, but that matters for him, too. And it obviously gets rid of my dart, which I don't enjoy. I use Vow Clutch in neutral, mostly because I don't want to get impaled. Impale is terrible. If you're a Cowboy main, you should never press Impale in neutral. And I'm not like lying for clout by saying that. Like, you see, I do all kinds of like super dashes and super jumps and short hops and like full jumps in. All these really safe and really valuable movement options will just completely destroy you for impaling, like, and they win on accident, right? you never have to make an impale read in neutral. You just have to kind of play careful, play passive, use a lot of movement, and then impale will accidentally stumble into your lap and give you a massive combo, right? So I'm a little bit worried about impale, just because I'm worried about staying completely safe, so I start going for Vile Clutches, and also because like magic darts and stuff haven't been working out great so far. He's maneuvering around him really well, so I go for this neutral. He just backblocks here, kind of ends up doing nothing. I get really greedy here and call that out with Flame Wave, which is going to make him jump, sure, but it's going to make him jump, and I'm going to be able to break his foresight on reaction. So, again, I'm remembering Winter's Finals here. I'm remembering, okay, Cowboy doesn't need his air options as bad as Ninja does, but I feel like he's not playing around them super well, so I'm going to try my best to use Flame Wave, which I normally never do against Cowboy, and just try and force him into the air so I can get one of those advantage shots again. Is really what I'm looking for here. So forcing people into the air with Flame Wave is really good. That's really all Flame Wave is good for. People have hype up the block strings with it, they're really not that great. Flame Wave is really good against Ninja and neutral. It's good against Robot if you need to like get some meter and choose him out because he can't really escape your block strings. And it's good in super passive, super optimal play like this, where you need to be looking for air option wins. It's really the three main things I use Flame Wave for. But like as a default projectile, as far as like what should I be doing going for the screen, if you're not playing against Ninja, you should honestly just go for Magic Dart instead. Or even like Short Hop instead of Flame Wave, or even like Vile Clutch. Like, it's been nerfed a ton and it's just not that great anymore in neutral in my opinion. Magic Darts get me wins and get me neutral interactions that are favorable way more often than Flame Wave does. Way more often. So I think if you have the choice, you should always go for Magic Dart. And just angle it well and play around it well. Don't full send it, don't do the maximum possible speed. Do it slow and do it up or maybe a little bit backwards like I've been doing. Because that leads into situations like this where he's forced to block. So, I Vile Clutch during that turn. This is to cover his air dash away, because he's -1, this would have actually gotten him there. This is going to force him to air dash towards as I work out my orb, or air dash straight down, I guess. I want him in this range. I want him in, like, interacting range. I don't want him to screw up the space again. Because, yeah, I have live lead, but, like, who cares, right? There's 2,500 frames left in the game. So, like, I'm getting orb out. I don't want to get my orb stalled out. I want to kind of box him in, force him into this play the video game with me type range, so that I can use my orb swords and my orb darts and my gusts to make something happen, which I'm going to try to here. I could have gusted that dash. I'm kind of not sure what he was cooking here. I think he rolled in. Let me edit this. The might have just been like a weird random misclick or something. Oh wait, I understand. Okay, so yeah, okay, this was an insane play from me. Not like a crazy read, but like a crazy setup. So he could block this, right? Oh my god, I'm remembering this now. This was so beautiful. Okay, take notes, everybody. This Magic Dart, you can't see it because we're not unstable. This is hitting in 4 frames. This Magic Dart is going to hit him 4 frames from now, right? So what that means is that if a projectile is going to hit you in 3 frames or less, and you block, then that counts as a projectile parry, right? So 4 frames is the tightest you can get your projectile lockdown. If it's a parryable one, like these darts here, that's the tightest you can get that lockdown without giving them a projectile parry, right? So I got that, which that's not luck. There is a science to doing that. It's hard, but like if you just play a ton of hours on Wizard and get a feel for it, you will be able to angle your magic darts to make this just like happen naturally all the time. It's incredible. And speaking of incredible, like I showed you with Orb, I'm getting more actions per minute here. I'm getting more APM, right? This is spawning an Orb Dart just incidentally. I didn't have to press a move to do that. The move I pressed to do that was Magic Dart, which I wanted to do anyway, right? So what this does is he's going to have to block that and go -1 here. And then, because this is also spaced out well enough to hit in roughly 4 frames and not get parried, he's going to have to block that as well, which eventually might let me, come in and conjure weapon, and then start the Orb Swords Blender for chip damage, right? And just live forever, get a ton of damage. Orb stays forever if you get that much chip damage. Like it's crazy. So this is my win condition, right? This is the checkmate I was talking about. This is how I've got him set up in my trap. Once again, because I'm kind of known for it, he thinks I'm going to greed on like a missile form or something here. right? Or maybe like another magic dart, because that looks kind of crazy here, right? Maybe some kind of like lock play. There's like a lot I can do in the way of lockdown here, just to keep him from doing anything to me. What I do this time is my safest possible option, and I go for Fast Fall Icicle, right? I don't lock my orb here, I think I pushed it in, it doesn't matter. So what this does is if he blocks, right, think about it, he's going to be -1 off of this dart, and then he's going to have to block this orb dart, and then, because like I said with asynchronous lockdown with that Wild Clutch in that last game, right, he's going to be blocking this, he's going to be out of options for this whole sequence, and then on my next turn, I'll be able to like short hop in or something here, right? And then this is why Orb is so incredible, because it chains your asynchronous lockdowns, right? It chains these situations where you have this free turn where your opponent is being kept still for you. It pins them down while you're able to do something else. And because it's also a crazy APM tool, and you're constantly getting value out of all of your turns, then you can do some crazy thing like this, right? And then the second magic dart is hit Ellegaard, which locks him down even more. And it goes without saying that like grab and like pummel and like all of this is like off limits here. It just doesn't work. Generally your options are going to be projectile invuln, push block, roll. And you can cover all of that super easily. Like short hop, underrated thing. Short hop beats roll, right? It just beats it. You just react, you just fast fall, you just mana strike, you just win. Here, in this situation, like if I didn't have orb, you could DI down. But this is another thing that makes orb so stupid, is that I say stupid, I really do love it though. Sometimes you'll be able to like gust here to extend, even though that's supposed to drop, right? So yeah, I kind of got ahead of myself on a tangent there. Sometimes it can even give you like safe grabs like this, which I'm sure you can get some kind of nightmare orb angle to like combo out of it, even with the lightning. Like it just opens up so much in terms of you're locked down this turn. I'm gonna do something that not only covers all these roll options and stuff, but extends the lockdown, right? So you can just chain, not forever, it isn't infinite, right? There's no infinites with orb. But like, it's almost infinite, right? It's a terrible blunder. So, going back to what actually happened, I set up this icicle to do that, right? He does not want to be a part of any of that blender stuff. He does not, I mean, he sees it, right? He sees this magic dart coming in for the alley-oop, like 3 turns in the future. He sees the line, right? He's gonna get desperate and roll in. But again, my recovery frame data is so privileged that I get to mana strike for it into a restand for a full combo. So let's see how that actually played out. And I want you to, I'm going to play this at 0.25x here, just so you can see, with all of my magic darts I'm doing, like, it only takes about 3 or 4 turns worth of gap for it all to just collapse and coalesce on him like that. Like, it's really cool to watch. I'll even frame it. Are we even close? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, so it's around here. I get orb out. Again, this is my reward for heaving a box into this range, right? This is my magic dart from a little while ago. I get to full hop at him safely, increase my positioning. He goes for a parry here and doesn't get it. I B-hop aggressively. This counts as a setup turn. And this is where we left off, right? We had the 2 magic darts perfectly lined up from earlier. Just because of the way they responded to his movement, they ended up being so convenient. Like it was this one was kind of lucky, I'll be real. I go for my completely safe, completely powerful, safe pressure extension. And then, again, this was not a read. I had no idea he'd roll in. I figured this was good no matter what he did. I'm just creating these situations where I have incredible good save options, and I'm taking them. That's what Yuumi Hustle is about at a high level, and Wizard is just the best at it, which is why he's top 1 this match. Okay, so he actually DIs perfectly to not get restood. On almost any other character, this would be a drop and he'd avoid a full punish. But again, Wizard is privileged, Wizard is very broken, Orb is very broken. Lightning is an OTG hitbox, just like Wild Clutch. It'll hit them off the ground during their knockdown animation. So now I do get my restand with Thumb Slap. And I get him into... I mean, it's... Well, hold on, what's going on? Oh, it didn't let me scroll over. Okay. Yeah, and then we reset to neutral. It was a bit of a drop. I'll get the camera centered again. Whoops. Let's speed it up this time. My Proudest combo, he gets a good DI on the Wild Punch there to get his way out. Normally you can't do that, but I guess the scaling was high enough and he just knew. I could extend that into more Oki, but I'm not sure why I did, honestly. He goes for a shot into a Foresight bounce. He knows he's at a huge deficit here, so he starts swinging, right? He's done with this neutral, oh, I'm gonna H/draw cancel back, I'm gonna fake it with gun 10,000 times. He's learned, right? He's an adaptable player. He knows that's not gonna work. So he's using his Foresight really well here. He's making good use out of his bullets. Notice he's only fired 2 bullets, but I've had to dodge like 5, right? Like, Foresight, with this Rift and the ricochets, you can really squeeze value out of your bullets, which is something that Wizard doesn't really have to do, because he gets meter so easily. And Orb doesn't last forever, but if you play super aggressive with it, you can make it last almost forever. So, it's just kind of a character-div thing at this point. He's having to work really hard with this search management, and I'm just kind of not. I'm just kind of learning on accident. This is a cool tech that doesn't get talked about enough. It's kind of bad, which is why it doesn't get talked about enough, but it's Stasis Star, right? I'll actually, I'll edit this one. Sorry to disrupt the flow, I'm padding for content here. Anyway, so you see how this dart's like weird, right? How it's like staying still for a bit. This is the thing that can actually be really useful against Ninja in particular, and I'll show you how to do it. I forgot what even happened here. I'm breaking the timeline. I'm used to playing more. Okay, so you do like 0.44-ish, something like that, right? Now you'll notice if they go into the air, the seal is kind of broken, right? But it's about halfway with no vertical input at all, and then you'll get this. Which, like, if you're playing super passive and you want to zone out a Ninja, not necessarily timer stall, but just make him come to you, it's really good against Ninja because he plays so grounded, and it's good against Mutant too. Cowboy and Robot and other characters that go into the air, it's not super useful. But like it has implications for sure. I do it just because why not? I just feel like trying new stuff at this point. I feel like I can kind of afford to experiment because I'm in the life lead. So like you can see it. How if I could queue up a bunch of these, right? I'll undo a bunch of these walkbacks just to show. You can almost set up like a ballista. It's kind of fun. It's not super practical. I'm just showing this because I think it's worth pointing out. But like if I've got a bunch of them stored up like that, right? And then someone starts jumping in at me, then, you know, it can all start paying off at once. And then, obviously, like, who's parrying all this, right? And if it all hits, look at all that damage. So, like, having a magic dart active at once, just like multiple of them, like you saw earlier with that crazy projectile trap I did, it can really be helpful, right? But especially, this is a really important thing, this is only scary to him at all, this made-up situation I just got into, because I'm here, right? You can't make your projectile play for you. You have to play Wizard, right? You're not playing Magic Dart, you're playing Wizard. So you need to be able to be within your normal threat range, do stuff like Conjure Weapons, Icicles, Mana Strikes, Geysers, whatever, to back up the threat of your projectiles and compound it, right? So that's the best advice I can give, is find stuff like this. Find ways for more than one projectile to be on your opponent's ass at the same time. And then when that happens, be there, right? When that happens, be in the area so you can capitalize. Okay, so after that, I super jump at him. Again, that's just free meter, right? You can't punish that at that range, not even with like Impale, because it just moves too fast. So he's just foresighting. I'm in an awkward position to destroy it. I figure I don't really need to. I just kind of keep going in with my jumps. I do this. This missile form is something I do against Cowboy a lot, just because, honestly, it's just because it's flashy and it looks cool. If you missile form down without free canceling it, doing it forward does like a B dash, right? It's like a cool little wave dash thing. It's interruptible, it's pretty good. If you do a missile form straight down though, it's a really good teleport call out against Cowboy. Because the other important dynamic going on here is that you'll notice whenever I'm in interacting, like video game range with him, I kind of don't press Magic Guard anymore. I only really do that farther and farther away unless I'm feeling greedy. Because Cowboy has teleport, right? Purple TP, ITP, whatever you want to call it. It's super, super frustrating on this matchup, on this patch, because you can't Magic Guard, right? There's always an angle, there's always something he has where if you attempt to set up or do anything useful within that range, there's a chance he could teleport on you and then punish you for a full combo, or at least with a grab, right? So that's super annoying, and I end up having to play against that a lot here. He usually ends up using most of his meter on teleports, not to aggress, but to get out of my projectile traps. So that's something Wizard has going for him in the matchup. But like Cowboy's like not good in this patch, right? He's like pretty bad, but that's really just a relative thing. His Wizard matchup, Wizard's the best character in the game. Close, kind of tied-ish with Robot, but like this is a bottom one versus top one type situation, right? The issue though is that this matchup is actually pretty even. Just because Cowboy's so good at like forcing interactions and forcing RPS, and he's also really good at not doing that. He's really good at making you not want to do anything, and just kind of sit on your ass in neutral, because the teleport threat is pretty scary. Because Wizard's disadvantage isn't very good. Like you get block string, you can kind of lose the game off of that. So he knows that, he knows how high the stakes are, so he just kind of lays off and doesn't use that threat for the most part. Even though he was swinging earlier, like you can tell he's kind of going back and forth with his playstyle a lot here. He ends up getting an unfortunate projectile parry here. I jumped because I figured if he held block it wouldn't parry, but I don't know. I just didn't eyeball it correctly. There's just another. I kind of just like failed to make lightning strike twice. He did like an unfortunate jump and had to block that magic guard, but I couldn't really make anything happen off of it. I did this Vile Clutch, which was kind of insane of me. This was a roll read. This wasn't like random, I was reading roll here. And then, because I had fallen while doing that, I couldn't really like air grab him or punish him here. Air grab was unpunishable there. I was just feeling greedy and just want to close out this game because he has no burst and I want to get hit early. He's also been rolling a lot. I spend meter there to conjure weapon, not very smart of me. I should have just saved it for Corp. I jump and now we're in kind of unsafe territory. Okay, he blocks for conjure weapon, I believe. I get really lucky here. It's a no impact land, right? I fast fell with the icicle, and it hit at just this perfect spot where instead of having to go into landing lag or be stuck in like a weird, awkward, just above the ground situation, it seamlessly transitioned into my grounded state, and I could go right to Mana Strike, rather. I could also threaten like dash grab and like conjure weapon and stuff here, but I chose Mana Strike. He jumps over it because Wizard is just not very good at pressuring. He doesn't have Orb out. This was like mostly completely safe with him. Maybe I could have angled the Mana Strike a little bit better. But yeah, like the pushback on Wizard's moves, melee-wise, is one of his main weaknesses. Is that if you just like full hop or like backdash after blocking something, his plus flames are usually not real. He has to get really greedy to get any reward on the mix. Back to neutral. Regular backdash, regular fancy stuff. I don't know what I was cooking here. I did another 1 meter free cancelled conjure weapon. This was to avoid bullets. It's to avoid having to block, right? Because conjure weapon has projectile impulse. I thought that was worth a meter for some reason. I didn't want to just like block and get block straight here. I ended up having to anyway because he angled it really well. And the second hit, right, at the ricochet, because I'm ready in 10 frames, but like then what? I'm not going to continue my conjure weapon because there's a ton of end lag on that. So I can't really hold. I'm kind of forced to block here. And he downward cleaves to transition it into a grounded string. I get kind of lucky here. He dash grabs at me, I full hop it. I was just expecting him to like impale or something here. Or just like stinger, or like ankle cut, or... It covered a good few options and dash grab was one of them. Because Wizard is privileged, I fast fall icicle on him. Now, this isn't the last time he'll do this in the game. This is kind of more proof that his mental wasn't doing very good. Because there was kind of no reason for him to whip cancel here. I think it ended up giving him like a... He had the opportunity to like flip stinger or something to get out. But whiff cancel in general in these sorts of situations is really bad. You should just take the hit and burst. I feel like nobody even knows this, because it's like, what the thing about whiff cancel, right, is that in that situation, Icicle is 5 frames. That's why I'm able to punish you, because it's a 5-frame move, right? If you whiff cancel, you have a 4-frame jab, sure, as Cowboy. But what that means is that maybe that flashes, best case, with the Icicle, right? Or maybe you get like a backslash, like shift your hurt box, or you get like a flip stinger. You get some way out. The crucial thing is that usually when you whiff cancel against moves like this, you're not going to be able to punish them if it's a 5-framer or a 4-framer, right? You may be able to escape it with a hurt box shift, but you can't punish it ever, pretty much. So, what you're effectively doing is putting yourself into a one-sided coin, into an OSC, right? You have the opportunity to escape, they can call that out and punish it, but they can just safely hold the thing they were already going to do, right? Because it's effectively 1 frame faster, because they already started it. So it's like, I'm not sure how to, it's just like not an optimal flow, right? What I would do in his position, if I got my dash grab jump like this, is I would just take the hit and burst on hit like 1, 2, 3. And then try and DI, even if it's not optimal, DI into them, just like hold in, be in their face so they can't get like a burst safe vertical slash or something. Just constantly be threatening burst, and if you don't do it, maybe they drop my blocking, right? That's going to get you more value than gameplay on this with cancel will, because if you mess up, now you're going to have to eat a full combo without being able to burst, and that's way more punishment than it's worth. So, oh, I know what happened here. He did 3 combo up and then DI'd down. That's so that he would like blip off the ground on frame 1, and then because of the DI and the launch angle of the Icicle, he land cancelled and was only -5, right? So I wasn't able to follow that up. It was too far away for Tome Slap. So I ended up having to go for a meaty mana strike instead. So that whiff cancel is only barely worth it. That's because he knew that one knowledge check. But like, you'll see he does this later in the last game actually. The whiff cancel there is just like not sound. He got really lucky. I could have totally called that out, and like if I he's gonna mitigate here against the Icicle, I could like combustion that to beat his 3 combo up, and he'd just be dead, right? So it's it's not a smart play. It worked out. It is. I'm not insulting him, but like you get what I'm saying. Like the risk reward is very skewed. Good old neutral. I don't know what I was cooking here. Again, I'm just getting kind of impatient at this point, which is not a good sign because you'll notice there's like 4 more games left. Do not look at the timestamp of the video right now, right? This is a bad time to be getting impatient. I use up all my free cancels early on dumb stuff. He just dashes at that and parries his own reaction. He tries to do it again. I think I parried, I was parrying 9 for like lightning slice here, just in case he was feeling cheeky. I could punish that with Geyser. He gets another projectile parry. Projectile parries are not hard to get against Wizard. You just have to really specifically angle your short hops and stuff so that you're gonna be you're gonna get hit by it on 1 frame from the next turn, if you know what I'm saying. Because that's the situation where you'll get a guaranteed parry. In Wizard Gust, like if they're set up for a parry, Wizard can never prevent that. You can only prevent it preemptively, like several frames ahead. I get Orb. This one was more of a call out. You can't just like toss out Geyser here against Cowboy like willy-nilly, because he can very safely air dash, just like air dash down, and then teleport and punish you, right? So this was a bit more of like a man's read, right? This will put some chest hairs on you. So yeah, I did that just because I want to solidify my lead, and I want to do big damage. And I also feel that he doesn't have his gun out, doesn't have any foresight out, and when you're in that position as Cowboy, especially against an orbed wizard, you need to start setting up and start taking out your gun or putting out your foresights, just to like get a foothold in neutral and contest with this monster nightmare that's going on here. He does gun throw, which is kind of an interesting choice. It ends up sort of limiting my approach options here. You notice I didn't b-hop here at all. I normally would. The gun throw kind of made that dicey. I wouldn't get hit by it, but I'd like get close to getting hit by it. More neutral, just destroying the foresight safely, giving my meters and my orb's lifetime. You know how it is. You know the deal. I do flip Tome Slap. That's a really safe thing you can do with orb. On stable, on this patch, if you Tome Slap, then the orb dart, this little projectile here, this goober, will come out in 12 frames, right? Really strong, really fast. It's like a safe version of Geyser, pretty much. Like, if you have orb in their face and you're pressing this button, you can think of it as a safe version of Geyser, unpunishable, that full combos, and it's 1 frame faster, is how you can think of it if you got orb in their face, right? So, even though it's kind of obvious, and you can just wait and then parry on the next turn, because it's frame 12, right? I go for this a lot against him and against any player when orb's in their face, just because if they don't frame kill it, they don't like zero dash or short hop or just like wait or fall or whatever, then they are going to feel my wrath, right? So like, he teleports here after that because he's gotten a bunch of meter, just forces the interaction. I say fuck that and like gold burst him, right? I just say no, I do not want to play close range RPS with you. He had like a crazy like flip setup here too, I think. So I just burst him. We are going back to neutral, you are going to deal with my orb, is how I'm feeling. And instead of going for the obvious dumb slap again, I don't want to get parried, I don't want to give him that meter back he just spent. So I decide I'm just going to like start be hopping away rather than just playing air footsies, right? You saw how I went in and then like faked him out and then went in again. Like air footsies, like fast falling and be hopping and all this stuff to weave in and out of your opponent's throw range is super important. I go for like an insane gun rate here because I'm impatient still. He gets this parried from full screen because orb darts are actually super easy to parry. I do this. I don't think I FC'd this. Maybe I did. I think I did. Just to destroy the foresight while summoning orb swords at the same time. Just a play. But Cowboy's also pretty good at stalling out orb is the thing, so I don't end up really getting any bang for my buck there. He teleports behind me, I just backdash. I try to call it like a throw. Normal neutral stuff. This is where I start messing up. I backdashed here really greatly. I remember like literally like falling over in my chair and like sighing when this happened. Because I did not have to get hit by this, right? Every turn you've seen me do like backwards short hops and stuff against gun, when I did that, it was completely safe, right? And so at this point, we're well into the era of 10-second timer, right? We'd long used up our chest timers by this point in the match, because those go by fast. We spend the majority of these games on the 13-second like timer, right? So I think I just kind of was like checking backdash to make sure it's safe, and I like blocked orb to like block the bullet for me, but it just didn't work, right? And I even ended up DIing it bad, I think. So I could have just blocked here and been safe for sure, and it would have been hard for him to set up a double hit. But like, I've been so greedy, and I don't want to take chip range, I don't want to give him meter, I don't want to make his time worthwhile, right? That I just get hit by this bullet, and I really didn't need to. It was just bad play for me. Like, against Cowboy, what you should be doing is, just step one, make sure if you have like a backdash or like a short hop, make sure you don't have like a safe movement option against the bullet, right? If you do, take that. If you don't, you should honestly just block every time. Because this can full combo sometimes, and if it doesn't, it's like hard not to, right? Like, it's just not a good time. It ends up full comboing though. And, because I gold bursted him earlier out of impatience, I can't really do anything about it. He ends up dropping anyway. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I think it was like a DI read. The ricochet here made it kinda dicey. He ends up getting gun throw pressure. Grabs me. It's pretty free. I can't really do much about that because I was covering roll the gun throw. It hits in like 10 frames. He gets a... That was kind of fast. You might not have caught it. So what he does is he whiffs a vertical slash, because I don't get up immediately, I just chill out on the ground. Because you can during your knockdown times in this game. I get up, he does free cancel pommel, because there's some sort of frame situation. It like frame killed, like he reacted to my get up, right? He was ready just in time. So he free cancel pommels, and it does a free cancel no, right? Meaning if I block at all, I'll parry that, but if I don't, like if he doesn't do that, then you effectively are just forcing your opponent to block, right? You can disrespect it for sure and pretend that the free cancel thing doesn't exist, but that's when you get owned, right? So I block here just to stay safe. I think I blocked snare just to stay super safe. Like parry 11 DI out is like holding down back against Cowboy, right? So he thinks he's playing pretty smart here. He thinks, okay, if this guy's blocking, he's probably like thinking about it in like a passive safe way, right? If he's not blocking, because he's wizard and he's not very good at close range, he's probably grabbing, right? Because that's the fastest option he has. So what he does is he downward cleaves, which is good against most of my block timings, right? It's kind of awkward to parry that because I leave myself open to both Impale and Stinger card breaks if I do that. So this gives plus frames on block, it gives a full combo on grab, and if I roll then it's like whatever, right? So this is just a really good option from him, and he ends up getting plus frames off of it, which he does into an upward swipe on block, which doesn't really lead to anything. This was super annoying. I kept thinking he was gonna like Rift here, because Whiff block is -1, remember, right? And Rift comes out on like frame 5-ish, right? So normally you've seen me be able to destroy the Foresight with these like mana strikes and back rolls and toe slaps and stuff. I can't do that here. It's like faster than all of my buttons. So if I attack in this situation and he rifts, I just die, right? It's a good combo starter. So I end up having to like hold block here, and he just doesn't rift. Like, it's so annoying. He just like jumps around for a second, eventually cap. I think I did free cancel Confusing Touch because it's a frame 3 move and it destroys the Foresight. But he takes out his gun, and learning from my mistake earlier where I got shot into a combo, I block again, right? But you can Foresight in gun stance, and Whiff block is -1. So he's gonna lock me down with that again, and just not act on that threat. And he gets in, okay, I have to complain about something. This looked like an incredibly flashy read, right? He goes for just like a random, like, I'm gonna get your ass, like shift vertical slash, and I parry it, and I combo him in the corner for it. I need to complain to the world. This was completely on accident. Completely, I had no idea it was. I thought about it, right? I like checked the option. I was just messing with my block slider, and it happened to land on like 7, or whatever the number was, whenever my turn timer ran out. Completely on accident. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone in the chat who was so hyped when I did this. It was a completely on accident. I did not deserve this hit at all. He bursts. Yeah, I think what I was trying to do was, see, you'll see that he DI'd in on that icicle, right? Which is good for 2 reasons. One, it makes it awkward for me to combo him into the corner. If you just like hold in and DI away from the corner, that can be good, especially against Wizard. And it makes it awkward for me to not burst safe. Because on any other DI, let's say he was over here, right? I could like Conjure Weapon or like Mana Strike, which would hit him, right? And if he bursts, it just whiffs, but I don't get hit by the burst because I'm spaced out, right? So I would be able to cover burst and have burst safe combos that punish burst without trying, right? He DIs in, which makes me not able to do that, which is really smart from him. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like, there's no ability to whiff cancel there because he got parried. But doing this kind of thing, just hold in and burst, this is better than a whiff cancel. This was a better use of his burst, and he made a good adaptation. He gets 1,000 cuts, which is super annoying. I hate 1,000 cuts, because in this version of Yomi, 1,000 cuts is not a 3 meter, it's like Orb, right? It slowly drains all your meter, but it doesn't like instantly cost 3 meter. And that means you get to keep all that meter to use with temporal rounds and instant teleports, right? So when you have this like constant like cycling hitbox on you and you're able to teleport, it's like Quick Slash, it's like old ninja moves almost, right? Where you can threaten this hit in like 9 or 10 frames from anywhere on the screen. And it's super, super annoying to deal with. I have to be thinking about it constantly. You'll see me whiff a lot of attacks trying to call out these non-existent teleports. Like it's like old man yells at cloud, like it's crazy. And you'll notice kind of a pattern in these games is that whenever he gets 1,000 cuts, I think this game might be an exception, I don't know, but generally when he gets 1k cuts, he starts winning neutral. I use Rock here because I'm so scared of 1,000 cuts. Telekinesis is like fine, it's like not bad at all. I'll break this down bit by bit. So I use Telekinesis there. I feel like it's better defensively if he's going to be teleporting into my face, right? Because it's really fast to launch. The only reason it's not used is because it's Orb and Spark Bomb are just better, right? But it's not bad at all as like an emergency desperate option, which is what I was feeling like here, right? So I Geyser at him, and I make a greedy whiff cancel. This is like an offensive whiff cancel. What happens is he just like waits or like air dashes or something here and is able to roll through the Geyser on reaction, right? So what I do is I whiff cancel, knowing he's gonna roll here, right? Because he doesn't want to take shift energy, he doesn't need to. And I think that also gets rid of 1,000 cuts if he does that, maybe. But anyway, my whip cancel here keeps all 3 of my geyser droplets. You'll notice they don't get consumed until the hitbox is actually out. And then what I'm thinking is, maybe if he rolls in, like I correctly predict he's going to, I'll be able to missile form it and punish him. But it doesn't end up working. I think, like, next turn, I honestly don't even know how this geyser hit. Because he, like, rolled again. Right? Am I going crazy? I don't think geyser is available out of whip cancel. Screw it, I'm gonna find out. It is? That's insane. Yeah, okay, so he was rolling out because he's not feeling very aggressive. But, I react to that and I'm able to punish with geyser because I whip cancel. Whip cancel is ready in 2 frames. Which is, like, expensive, right? That costs all of that resource and it costs most of my burst. But the important thing is I got rid of 1k cuts. Now, that's not that important. It wasn't that good a play, because he's got 4 meter and he can just do it again. But, like, whatever, you know? Okay, I just talked for like 15 minutes and realized I wasn't recording. So I'm gonna go through this kind of fast, but nothing super important happened after the geyser. I'll just kind of go through it piece by piece. I hit a gust. He could have called that out with the teleport, but I just figured he wouldn't. I don't know. I think I ended up free canceling it, and that kind of cost me because Gust doesn't reset for free cancel. He gets 1k cuts again, and it's again going to be super annoying with that constant teleport threat. I can't really safely destroy foresights anymore because he could teleport on me, and I'll get hit by the 1k cuts. But I still managed to orb up. He gets a really good grab here with his 1k cuts. It doesn't combo, but it leaves him close enough to go for like a free cancel 50-50. And what that does is, in order for me to stay completely safe there, he forced out orb. I had to lose my orb to do anything about that, which is like crazy. So like that's a really good reward off of grab. Costing me that 1 meter and getting rid of orb means the neutral could be in his favor now. I do this fast follow air throw because it's unpunishable. Cowboy can sometimes punish air throw with spot dodge, but here it like lane canceled, so we didn't have enough frames to. Here it's kind of a block string, it doesn't lead to much. I safely destroy that. Couldn't lightning slice that. I go for a gust, and it's really tight. He teleports past it. A gust is 18 frames of recovery, right? Teleport is 10, and 3 combo down is 8, right? So he just barely, with this safer teleport angle, has just barely frame perfectly enough frames to teleport in and punish this. I burst instantly, he doesn't bury it. Geyser, just punch it out. That was the teleport read. I kind of have to spend a lot of my free cancels on that because it's just constantly omnipresent, it's just constantly threatening. You'll notice compared to me, like the meter drain here is kind of weird. Like he's draining faster than me, but I'm keeping orb up longer than 1k cuts. Probably just because he's getting hit more. I don't know. I gust back these darts. There's like a mechanic with projectiles where if you parry one, you can chain that parry onto the next several projectile hits. There's like a frame gap though, there's like a buffer for how long that chain parry state, I guess you could call it, lasts. So I gust back to make him soft block this, hoping I could maybe get some kind of reward out. Which works, but just because of the way that they're spaced and the way that action ability worked out, he gets the parry on this anyway, which is unfortunate. Which changes the parry on that. So I try and go in with orb. This is important. I'm gonna try and edit this turn. No, okay, I was too late. What I spent a really long time explaining before I realized I wasn't recording. I am recording now, right? I am. Is that I locked my orb there, and when you lock your orb with the orb lock toggle, it makes your orb dart, a little blue projectile, it makes that get a bigger hitbox and it makes it speed up. So the whole lost media tangent that you'll never hear that I was going into is about how time and distance, time and space are the same thing, right? And what I effectively did by locking that orb was I made it hit him 1 frame sooner. I made it 1 frame closer to him, right? So instead of it hitting in 11 frames like he expected, it hit in 10, which was just enough time for that to hit the air dash. So what I'm saying is, Wizard can go for options like that. Elcard's the guy who never misses an option, right? but on 13 seconds, everyone's human, right? What Wizard can do is all kinds of. There's no way he sees this. There's no way this is even on his radar. There's no way he'd see this coming, but not in like a brute force hard reads type of way, like robot thunderclapping at you from mid-range, right? It's not like that at all on Wizard. We're a finer species. What Wizard does is he's never going to see that, these crazy obscure options, but he does it with his left hand, right? Everyone else has to do that with 2 hands. He can do it asynchronously as a reaction, right? He can push orb in such a way that like interacts with block weirdly. You can like lock orb with the orb dart to like catch you off guards like that. You can do all kinds of these crazy unforeseeable options, and you combine that with Gust even, threat range doubles, right? He can do all of this without really trying very hard. And the capacity for him to set up these situations where he's even thinking about that, right, with the projectiles, is made so much more efficient by orb making your APM so much higher. You just get to do more stuff per turn, right? So it's those 2 things that make Wizard so absurdly broken in this match. Like, not that much better than Robot, but like better than Robot. Like, Wizard has no losing matchups on this match. It's crazy. The nerfs were fair, but they make me sad. I'm playing Cowboy nowadays. But all of that aside, this was a good game. I'll just go through it one more time. So it wasn't but I'm feeling pretty confident with this, right? Oh my god. Like this. I can finally, like... You know, the other thing is my back was aching like hell this whole time, because I sit weird in my chair. I sit kind of curled up like a shrimp. Like my, how do I describe it? Like the very bottom, like the very first of my vertebra at the bottom is like touching the bottom of the chair, the way that I normally sit. Like I sit like a freak. I'm sitting like a freak right now. So my back was hurting like hell from that, no matter how I sit. And I'm several hours into Yoni competition at this point thinking, man, I need to hurry this shit up. I need to kill this guy so I can stretch my back. Okay? And unironically, that I'm slowing this down for next game. Remember this game. You'll see why in a second. Grand Finals 2. Like I said, my back hurts like hell because I sit like a freak. I'm excited to win the biggest Yomi tournament of all time undefeated. Like, what a feat, right? Against the greatest player of all time. So, wanting to play solid, I go into Grand Finals 2. Like, okay, let's close this out. What's the most solid round start against a Cowboy? Pop quiz. There's 2 options. There's only 2 correct answers against a Cowboy round start. You can get greedy on a Mana Strike, sure. That'll catch all kinds of stuff, but you're gonna get stingered someday, right? Or you're gonna waste a free cancel and it's not gonna be worth it. You could, I don't know, like Conjure Weapon if you're really feeling like it, but the risk-reward on that is terrible, right? Your 2 realist options against Cowboy Run Start are Jump and Backdash, right? Because Jump you can call out and really only will combo into an Impale if he H-slashes up. And Backdash, if you get Lightning Slice there, he comes into Impale, right? What I'm saying is that if you full hop at like a really shallow angle, I mean like really steep rather, like really high up, or if you Backdash, the worst case for you there is that you can combo into Impale, right? Which is not great. You're gonna get OK'd with like a TP into Vertical Slash, but it's not like a stinger starter, right? So I'm thinking, I'm just going to play a solid game plan. I'm going to be an unbreakable wall. I'm not going to let him in. I'm just going to win, right? So I jump round start, and this motherfucker backslash sweet spots me instantly, turn 1. And it all is just kind of downhill from there. This was not even on my I didn't even know Cowboy could do this. I thought it was just H/up. But no, backslash sweet spot into 1300 damage round start on a 0 proration combo starter. And he gets enough meter from it to teleport follow up. But he doesn't even need to use it yet. straight into downward cleave. I DI terrible on this pistol whip. It is over. It is over as hell. There's no hope. None. I'm DIing bad. He gets the... I didn't even have to burst here. Honestly, like I said, if you've already taken 3,000 damage, it's too late to burst, right? But I'm frustrated. I just burst anyway. And he burst cancels for the burst safety. Just because you can do that, it'll reset your duration. It's just like a burst safe turn you can have for free, right? Because the thing about burst cancel is that if you burst cancel them, and then like they don't burst, like you don't call it a burst successfully with that, right? Then they burst your combo later. Think about what that means, right? You spent your whole burst bar to have a burst safe turn, to get a bunch of hit stun also in the air. That's also important. They spent the burst several turns later to not get comboed anymore, right? And because burst regen on this patch is the same no matter what you're doing, that means you win out anyway, right? Even if you don't make the burst call out with it. Like, numbers-wise, let's say I bursted 3 turns later here instead of bursting right here like an idiot. He would still be winning. That burst cancel would have still been worth it, because he has the burst lead, right? He'll get his burst back before I do. So the risk on it is really not that crazy. Like, the worst burst cancel can ever turn out for you is if you burst cancel and then they don't burst at all, is the worst case, right? And then maybe they'll get some crazy reversal on you and make a comeback. But that's just not gonna happen. I can't even stress to you how much it's not gonna happen. So, burst safe turns for free, right? The risk reward on is great because if you get bursted later, just the numbers advantages in your favor. And the reward, and the best case if they burst, is insane because you get burst punish without the parry scaling as well. Because parry, even burst parry, scales your combo by a certain amount on this patch. Getting a burst cancel where you're kind of just like whiff punishing a burst does not scale your combo. So what I'm trying to tell you, it's the same terms here, is that I'm fucked as fuck. He pistol whips, but IDI at this time does not matter. He gets to restand the pommel because he was at the perfect right height for it and he knows his routes. Even though he hasn't been playing a ton of Cowboy, he still knows his routes. He is a lab god, he will never drop a combo. I think the only reason he dropped that foresight bullet combo earlier is because the bullet was going to hit him. And the bullet, like, self-damage hitbox hadn't been added yet. That's the only time I've ever seen him drop a combo, like, unironically, was that last game. I'm doing bad DI here, but it's not like it matters. He gets a ground bounce. He gets just all kinds of shit, and then ends into an impact. Fair enough, right? You can do a Zuner drop on Cowboy if you want more damage, but most of the time it's worth it so that you can teleport into them for this Oki. And so, I wanna... This was an insane game, just in general. I want to show you a bit more into my thought process with this interaction. So what happened here is this gun throw. Okay, we need to take a step back. This gun throw. I didn't get up immediately because I don't want to get hit by like meaty upward swipe or meaty whatever, right? I don't want to have to block and go minus this turn. So I wait, right? I just hold still on the ground. He gun throws. Which means that I go here, I go +3, right? This +3 is bad because tech dodge, get up, these things are ready in more than 3 frames and they're not interrupted, right? So what this means is he gets to react to whatever I do and plan accordingly. What he does here is free cancel horizontal slash. Now this is like those free cancel 50/50s I told you about, right? I'll delve into this more. I can parry like low 17, it doesn't matter my timing, right? But if I parry at all, he is getting punished for this H/, right? If he holds it. But his incentive to hold it is that this beats everything that isn't blocking. Because it's effectively frame 1. Because again, you do your frame math. Horizontal slash is 6 frames, I'm +5 right now. So on this turn, Cowboy pressing hold and following through with that free cancel H/, because that's what free canceling does, is you press hold to follow through. This is effectively a frame 1 option, right? Now, the important part, grab is already really good in point blank, right? Really good in point blank RPS. It combos here. He tosses me into gun throw, and that absolutely kills. He can absolutely set up burst save before I get my burst back. This 100% kills. You can kill off a grab here. So, another really important contextual thing. there are setups like this that kind of, because like I said, you'd be kind of stupid not to block because there's this Framlin thing in your face, but you'd also be stupid to hold. So very publicly, I've been constantly saying my policy against these is to pretend they don't exist, right? My policy against Freaking Zombie, I just pretend like it's +0, pretend like the Framlin doesn't exist, because there's no way he holds, because blocking is so safe nowadays, and you get hard punished for it, right? The trick to that is that I'm fucking lying. It's 50-50, right? It's like holding in a Freaking Zombie is still like a worthwhile option against players like me who like to disrespect options like that, and get their wins in RPS that way. So lying is the #1 skill a young puzzle player could have. Because he saw my messages about this. He was like pissed off about this later. It was so funny. We were talking after the game. He's like, "Oh, you post so much about how, oh, I just ignore Freaking Zombie 250s." Like, and then when you have combo grab, you blocked. And it's like, yeah, dude, hustling's half the battle. Anyway, I get a pretty big combo off of that, and you'll see what happens. This game was just overall insane. Like, I know I said it was over, but like, give me a second. What the hell is that? Oh, that's is Deltarune noises from my Deltarune music playlist. I'm just gonna skip it, I think. And good enough. Anyway, I get a crazy combo here. It's like a parry starter, so again, parry scales your combo. You don't do as much damage if you parry something. It's kind of like a whack-ass combo though. Like, I'm doing like kicks and mana kicks, like 6 hits in, 3.6k is like not good damage for Wizard, right? Ideally, you want to be doing this much damage in like 3 hits, like 2 hits, right? Because Wizard can really squeeze out the big damage hits early, and do way more than this with way less scaling, right? I'm kind of freaking out here, as you can probably understand. So, I B-hop up here, and I do fast fall parry. I fast fall parry because that's unpunishable, right? I fall down, and like if he doesn't burst, he's like +5 or something. What can you do about it down here? Because I'm all the way down here. But if he bursts, I parry it and can react, and so I get to jump off of that. And he gets a burst punish on me. I get a burst punish on him. My combos aren't as good as his, just like character and player-wise. So this doesn't save me, right? As you can probably tell by how much time's left in the video. But I kind of get to cook here. I did completely throw this combo by doing the down throw. I was like a cheeky DI up read. All I really get off of it though is the Valkla Choki, which isn't even that good. What I'd love to do here is fast fall full hop, right, like I showed. But I don't have any gravity left. I can't fast fall nor hover. So I'm kind of forced to just like do this mid-range pressure, which is not very good. But I do have 5 meter, which is pretty good. He manages to jump out of it, which I didn't know you could do. I think I just like ended up misspacing it. And the rest of this is me just like coping super hard and swinging crazy hard, like just swinging for the fences in neutral. Like, spoiler alert, it does not end up working out. Really weird flip interaction here, where we both like phase through each other. There's this bug called flippies that causes. Maybe if I can like point to a concrete example of it happening, I'll edit the replay and show you. But like we both phased through each other with these options, and it ended up like nullifying it. Like that, this icicle I did was kind of weird because no matter what he did, he like phased through me. It was weird as hell. He had to like flip vertical slash to hit me or some crazy shit like that. But he just held his option. We both ended up blocking there. He goes for a smart grab. I'm -1 on that block, or I guess we're both -1, so it doesn't matter. But like he has a frame 4 and I don't, right? And I didn't have fast fall back then. So I'm kind of stuck in that sitting duck position. I'm worried about Impale most of all, because that'll beat both rolls, while also it beats the combo parry as well. So he goes for a really smart grab, just kind of, because grab has an active frame state, and he rises up touching the ground there. And he gets over it, which is really good. This one he ended up dodging, but it couldn't punish it, so it's really need to whip cancel there. You'll notice though, I really am not so happy-go-lucky with my geysers when I don't have whip cancel, because you really want to be able to bail yourself out like that against Cowboy, because the teleport is just like something you can always pull out, and it always works. I have no idea what I was cooking there, I'll be real. I just say screw it with the conjure weapon. He kind of disrespects my fast fall here, and just summons 1k in my face, which you're gonna see here pisses me off. I go for more teleport reads. This is again that missile form straight down. I end up getting to parry this 1k cuts. He blocks a tome slap, and I am forced to parry this 1k cuts again. And then honestly, I think he landed a pommel, and then I bursted out. I'm not sure what happened there. But long story short, he's just gonna get 1k cuts again, right? And I'm having to spend all my free cancels on these teleport reads and stuff. It's just, the threat of it doesn't let me do what I want to do nearly as much. And he can also, by the way, a really important thing, is because I can hit in like 9 or 10 frames, he's able to punish jumps, full hops on Wizard, which most people can just never do. Like, it's not a thing that's even possible unless you're a ninja with boost, or like a cowboy with 1k cuts. But that's something you can do. You can even punish my short hops from like this far. So it just makes every turn I have unsafe, and I have to constantly keep guessing and swatting it away. I'm glad it's been kind of toned down this patch. Just some good neutral. I kind of failed to capitalize on this. I landed at him, but like I said, Flameway block strings are just sort of fake, right? He push blocks, which the push block here was actually insane. He push blocked me into his gun throw, which I did not see on my radar at all. I honestly thought he didn't want to spend the meter and was just going to eat the chip damage because it's not that bad. But like with Orb out, I guess he thought I was capable of more, which I probably was. But it turns into this insane trade. I think I don't know why he got hit by Orb there, if I'm being honest. He parries the geyser raw, but can't really do anything about it because when he gets his gun. Meter runs out finally, and then we're Orb. I get this wall of projectiles, which will stop the bullet from hitting me because it applies like hit stop if they fly. So I get a few frames worth of room there, so that's helpful. I messed into him, and it doesn't really matter. He just blocks it. What am I gonna do about that, really? He does a couple spot dodges, just staying safe. Just playing above my head, really, because with no geyser droplets and no meter, I really can't do anything about that. He kind of whips a ricochet there. I'm blocking anyway because I'm minus and I don't want to eat an H-slash, but he gets a good bullet. This is not like optimal cowboy bullet block string play. Like if you'd angled that a little bit differently, it could have bounced on me. I think what I actually did is I turned off hover. He like assumed I would hover, I think, but I turned it off to mess up the position I was going to end up in, so that he wouldn't be able to get that double bounce lockdown I was talking about. I'll fire a single player and show you later, I guess. But yeah, like I mixed up my hover timings there so that I wouldn't get locked into like a guaranteed block string, and I could kind of just play neutral again, which is very fortunate. I have no idea what he was doing there. It's like scary as hell though. Maybe that was like a mana strike call out because vertical slash moves you forward so much, but I don't know. This was really good. I do this all the time. If you expect someone's gonna block here, this is worth showing actually. If you expect someone's gonna block at you while you're playing Wizard, a really important thing to get good at is angling 4-frame darts, right? Like, I can go ahead and tell you, just looking at this is gonna be a parry, right? He's just gonna get that. There's nothing I can do about it. But, if you play a little better, and just be more precise with your magic card angles, what you can do is, as a block cog, you can get that asynchronous lockdown I was talking about. So that, once again, I believe is a 3-frame parry, right? This is what 3 frames looks like. Remember, time and distance, time and space are the same in the puzzle, right? This is what 3 frames looks like. And so, I believe if I eyeball it there, I believe that's a 4-framer, yeah. So, I couldn't really, like, conjure weapon this or anything, because, like, then I'm taking damage from 1k cuts, which is, I'll need 2 of this to die, right? And parrying it here is awkward too for some reason. So, like, that's not what I really want to do here, right? I end up just kind of chilling in case he rolls, because 1k cuts roll is another thing too, that's invuln, and it damages in one combo, like, it's scary. So there's really a lot he could do here. He could, like, even dash through it, but I could call that out with missile form, maybe. Maybe even, like, flip icicle. Mana strike, yeah, that kind of thing. But then that's terrible versus block, right? So the 1k cuts is keeping him safe here, but blocking keeps him even safer. I get +1 and don't really get anything off of it here, but imagine 1k cuts wasn't up, right? Hello? My game froze? My game froze. Okay, my game just randomly crashed. Anyway, I'm back. What I'm saying is, with this block magic dart, this here was a free turn of just like asynchronous lockdown. If he's not playing Cowboy with that annoying diagonal dash and he doesn't have 1k cuts up, like against Robot, this can do so much more, right? Because during that free turn, I can predict that he won't roll, I can get greedy there, and fast fall conjure weapon, or like fast fall flame wave, or do anything else to keep the pressure going, right? So setting up for that, and kind of knowing when to eyeball 4-frame darts like that, versus not just block, but other options too. Just getting a feel for what hits in 4 frames looks like is super important, because you can give yourself those asynchronous lockdowns on purpose instead of it just being luck. And it's very important with Orb as well, which is, Orb Dart is faster, so timing with it is harder. I end up getting a cool thing here. I like fast fall, I didn't fast fall, I just missile formed at him. I angled it up just a little bit so it was 1 frame off, like it hit 1 frame later than all the other angles did, to make it harder to parry. And I checked in the predictions, it actually ended up working. Like, he would have parried it if I didn't do that, so that was really good. Aimable moves, you can often mix up the parry time, which is really strong. I hard call him out on 10-second timer with the contra weapon here, but it doesn't work because of 1k cuts. It was just ambitious of me. I should just like combat shit or something. I don't know. It probably wouldn't even help. But yeah, he's okay. Even Alright, so that's my first loss of the night. Hold on, let's slow down here. Normal neutral stuff, not that I haven't gotten it already. I do, I'm worried, so in this situation it was weird, I was in the air, I didn't have Tongue Slap, and I didn't have Icicle. It was like a Icicle land cancel, right? I landed before it came out so I couldn't destroy Foresight there. I knew he was going to rift, and I didn't want to block it and take a chip and get block straight. So, probably not even wise, but I confusing touched it with a free cancel. Because again, that's a frame 3 hitbox that destroys that. Other fun fact about confusing touch, 1k cuts is supposed to go away when you get hit, right? Getting confusing touch counts as a hit. So, fun fact. I don't know if that's ever getting patched out, but fun Cowboy matchup knowledge. I just gusted him thinking he'll approach, he doesn't. And what can you do? That's another gun turn he did. Just foresighting instead of shooting is the thing he picks up on, because I always, after that bullet, after I got hit randomly when I shouldn't have there, I always block the guns out, unless I have a completely safe option that I see instantly. Like, if I'm anywhere close to him, I'm always blocking after I've done that. He notices that I've done that rotation, and so he exploits that, the -1 block, by putting foresights in my face and making it really hard to do anything about it. Honestly, I have no idea what it was doing with the Icicle. I think it was a teleport read, I'm not sure. I would have gotten blown up by Rift though. I'm feeling desperate. Again, I just had my first loss of the night, so I take out my rock. It doesn't really do anything. He just blocks it. It's just not very good against Airborne. He's kind of de-rusting on his bullet block strings here. You can see he got closer to getting the lockdown there, but I was just like space too good for it. Okay, this is a funny interaction. I attempted to flip combustion, flip magma with a bullet, and then I DI'd into him so that it would like reflect it, right? Because you can hit bullets, and if you have a really high knockback hitbox, you can just like laser it into him sometimes, and it's really funny. What he did is he rifted, which teleported the bullet out of my grasp, but then teleported back into my grasp, into my face, after the magic, I keep mixing up their names. The Bolt of Magma had already gone away. And because it's controlled by the DI wheel, right, these bullet angles, and I had to DI that way to like aim the bullet at him, I end up DIing terrible on this bullet hit, and he gets a restand, and he takes his burst save during here. This was burst safe as well, this burst slash. Cowboys would do this all the time. They'll space out so that, again, the vertical slash has good enough recovery, where if you burst, it just whiffs and it's punished. If you don't burst, it just hits. So vertical slash is great for that and Kill Wizard all the time. This was a good burst for me. You can do these bursts like this where, instead of, it's kind of like the opposite of the first save vertical slash I was just talking about, right? Where instead of it whipping and they're close enough to punish, it whips and they're like too far away to punish, right? Like here. Like he was +2 frame advantage here, but like you're not punishing +2, especially on here, right? So like something I did this against Robot too, like Ninja Stomp as well. They're just a bunch of moves with recovery that's so long that if you burst kind of spaced out, you'll get to get out of the combo even if the burst doesn't necessarily hit. So these whip bursts are important. You gotta see them and do them, because if people are trying to route or save on you, then a lot of times they'll make the mistake of putting themselves into this situation where, yeah, the burst whiffs, they're spaced out from the burst, but it doesn't matter because they recovered too slow to do anything about it. Now, I'll get the replay recenter. I don't have a ton to talk about this game. I kind of got my ass wiped. I mean, what? I kind of opt not to go for Orb here, which is really weird of me. I don't know why I'm doing that. I think I'm just frustrated and wanting to try something new, because I worry that he's figured out my Orb gameplay from game 1. Like it kind of like how I got hit by that bullet and then never again. I feel like he got hit by that game closing Orb Dart in round 1, and kind of shifted into like a never again mode and started checking stuff more regularly, which is why I wasn't really able to make the comeback in game 2, I think. So I go for Spark Bomb instead. I just say we ball with a conjure weapon, which, because Spark Boost, I didn't even use the Spark Bomb or Spark Bomb, I just blew it up immediately for the speed. Because that's just so much speed, I was able to grab after. It was a free cancel 250, right? Because he like back walked, or forward walked, I think, there. So I grabbed. Wizard grab is normally pretty bad, like I said earlier. Because of this momentum, I ended up actually pretty close. Really tragically, though, the magic dart screws me, because it appears kind of like as a meaty, like right on his face as he's waking up, which gives him a parry. So I have to kind of this air neutral, which I say, okay, this isn't working. I'm just gonna take my orb out, because why not, right? I got 3. You'll notice I'm not doing Orb Sword as much here, which I don't know why. It was working out pretty good in game 1, but in game 2 it didn't really do anything. So I think the adaptation I was trying is to just spam more B-Hop and get more Orb Dart, but it didn't really work out. I say as I do Orb Sword twice. And then he calls out this portal, I was trying to punish grab there. He calls out this portal with a vertical slash, and just barely messes up the restand to combo out of it, like by pixels. I get impaled, fair enough. I think I parried for Pommel here, just because I thought, I don't know. He's been doing a lot of like safe plays in his block strings, stuff like the downward cleave, right? So I figure if I parry for those more than the guard breaks, because he's just not going for them, he knows that I'm playing really defensively with my block, that I'll be able to parry and make something happen, right? But he knows that, he's been analyzing my play, he's been figuring shit out, he just goes for the impale and he just gets it. Because also, if I get super greedy and I think he's gonna parry, like a gold burst or something, let's say I combustion, impale beats that too, right? It beats conjure weapon as well. So it's all around just a solid option, because it beats the greedy slow moves, it beats rolling, and it beats most blocking. And I'd also DI terrible on the impale, I forgot this part. Normally against an impale, if you just DI out, the burst cancel won't really work, it won't restand, right? You can DI the burst cancel down and out after the impale, and you'll be like -5, and he can't combo, right? What I did is I DI'd this down, I believe, because I was worried about grab, which DI out works against that too for Cowboy, so it was really just like a bad play by me. But anyway, if you DI down against impale, burst cancel restands, right? And you take the full hit stun, there's no land cancel BS you can do to mitigate it. And so he gets a full combo off of impale, which I'm not happy about. He gets his burst set up, and then he just parries burst. Sometimes you just know, you know? He gets a stinger starter. Oh, important thing. I don't know if this is getting patched. Hold on. While I'm getting my ass beat. I'm just gonna go back a few turns. You'll notice he walked before he stingered. Yeah, okay, here. So he did walk forward, right? The reason he did this is because there's a tech called Mew Parry, discovered by Blue Mew, where if you hit perfectly, a frame perfect punish, like you just barely had enough frames to punish after the parry, it won't apply the parry scaling I've been talking about, and you'll get a full damage combo with no mitigation or anything, which is really good. So after burst punish, every character has this. You'll be able to dash forward or walk forward a certain amount to just like kill frames, just get rid of frames, just make them expire. And then you'll be able to do your best combo starter, which in Cowboy's case is Stinger. And because I've given up, I DI that poorly, which lets him up swipe. Well, I DI even more poorly, good god. But you know what I'm saying. Like, we're in shambles out here. You'll notice in this game, I think part of why I'm this, I'm not playing Okay. So going to the Grand Finals reset, I asked him for a 10-minute break to stretch my back. I apologize to the casters for keeping them up for 5 hours. It is what it is, right? I'm worried I might have another legendary choke and go like 0-4 and get full reverse swept, like what happened to my buddy Satsuji. I'm so sorry, Sue. It's a story for the ages. And both of these VODs are lost media now, by the way, which is the saddest thing ever. Like the commentary on all of these tournaments was so good. You'll see some of it on the Protocol channel, but I believe, unless I get proven wrong, I really hope I do, I'm pretty sure the casted VOD for this Grand Finals is gone. And also for Back Alley Champions, which is the tournament I was just referencing. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I'm worried as hell. And so, what comes to mind is, I'm kind of thinking, what is this? I wanted Minecraft music, not your sad boy shit. Good enough. Good enough. Anyway, what kind of comes to mind is the night before Olympus, right? I was playing against players like Squirtum Hat and Eternum. I got some good practice games in. But what I kind of realized is that I lost games against like Eternum, right? Who's a Cowboy player who he didn't even like qualify for Olympus, right? I really felt bad about losing to the worst character in the game when the player didn't even qualify for Olympus. Like, I thought, I'm fucked, right? So I went into more practice games from there, and I just kind of had an epiphany, which is, how did I do 3rd place in Qualifier 1, right? What I did is I just kind of showed up on the day of and didn't think about it at all, right? I just showed up on the day of and just like, okay, I'm gonna play some Yummy Hustle. Like, I didn't come up with like matchup charts, I didn't come up with like strategies, I didn't come up with like players, I didn't do any of this prep shit that some of these other people did. I just showed up and played Yummy Hustle, right? Because I feel like I play way better when I'm not overthinking stuff and getting in my own head. And I realized, oh my god, this is like when I lost to Eternum. This is when I lost to Squirtum Hat in the first game, right? This is just like the practice games. These past two, I like got so cocky about it. I was like, these past 2 Grand Finals games were just practice. The reset is the real shit. So for the fans and for the people, I put on the Gunk install, the dark Gunk Sucker setup. I changed my style. I'm not a superstitious person, but I think this is why I won. Half joking. But I feel okay. He knows that I'm like, he's not in my head necessarily, but he knows that I'm in my head now, right? He knows that I'm playing scared. He knows that I'm just not confident, right? You saw that game 3. You saw how just like physically different that gameplay looked from game 1, right? And even winners finals. So I'm changing shit. I'm messing up the formula, and it's not working. So I think, okay, I'm gonna put on my playlist for all my favorite songs. I'll link it in the description if you're interested. And I'm just gonna show up and play Yummy Hustle. I got some ice cold water. I put ice in my water for the first time in a while. And I said, you know what? You know what's a play like me? You know what's something Royce Brackett would do? weapon round start. I get a burst save combo off of it. Nothing much to say about this route. Conjure Weapon instant cancel Vial is burst save for the first couple hits, and then, you know, like the Magma Bolt and everything out of it, some of that was burst save, some of it wasn't, but it doesn't matter because if he bursts here, he's throwing, and I've already parried him once before in the previous 2 games, right? I guess previous game 2 games ago, you know what I'm saying? So I try my best to get Icicle. After I do 4,000 damage on Wizard, 4,000 is kind of my breakpoint where I think, okay, I don't really give a shit about the damage anymore. I'm trying to route into Oki, right? I want to do Missile Form, the kind of the stomp hitbox, right? Like the explosion. We call it Backblast. I want to do that downwards, send you to the ground, so I can do the Vile Glitch lockdown that I was showing earlier, right? And that's your number 1 goal on Wizard. I tried to route into that with the Icicle, but I just ran out of air options and couldn't quite do it. So that's whatever. I just set up my Magic Dart. We just play some neutral. I roll this instead of blocking it because I don't want to give an inch. No meter for you, no chip damage for you. He was rolling and dodging and rolling and jumping and dodging away from the Magic Dart. It was so funny. He threw his gun all the way over here, by the way, which is, I think, gonna work out for him, but like not in a huge way. Camera. Both of these Grand Finals and Grand Finals race under best of 3, by the way. So this game, spoiler alert, I won the next game after this and also this one, but like I was 1 game off for the worst case possible scenario. Like if I had lost this game or the next one, then we would have been in a situation where it's like 6 hours on Grand Finals alone. This entire Grand Finals, like resetting GF put together, it's like 5 hours. I'm not kidding. Real time. I do another weird angled missile form there just to like mix up the parry timing. I have no idea why. I have literally no idea why I conjured weapon there. Literally none. I could not tell you. I like went in before recording this and edited like, why did I conjure weapon there? I have 0 clue. No clue why I conjured weapon there. It might have been a misclick, if I'm being honest, but he just blocked, so like whatever. Here he is again with the he's like stalling up my block with these foresights, right? He knows that I have to block so he doesn't detonate it, but then I have to do like a big disrespect with this backdash to get over it, right? So that's annoying. He ends up just barely not being space enough to parry that, which I don't really get a ton off of. But I do get, just because he's too scared to like backwalk or anything, because there's also, I'll show it later, there's probably a better time later, there's a, not a glitch, but like a game mechanic thing Wizard can take advantage of, where backdashing against him isn't really very safe, because you can super jump or like super dash, and that extends the recovery of your backdash so that I can catch up, but during that time projectiles still fly. So Wizard can punish backdash if a projectile is already out from really far ranges. So for that reason, he's just going to sit here and block, which I use to my advantage to get a ton of that asynchronous lockdown, which again, like I said earlier, in this situation, this is kind of his only out, this teleport. And I couldn't really punish that, but I didn't really need to, because look what he didn't do. He had 3 meter and he didn't spend it on 1k cuts. So he spends that to get out of my projectile trap, just so he doesn't get steamrolled, and I delay 1k cuts another day. It's almost like, if this is what it feels like to play against Wizard, honestly. It's insane mid-range, tiny little setups you have to check, block pressure, asynchronous lockdown, and you cannot let him get to 3 meter. It's just the Wizard's better at it. They're the same character, but just better. He jumps over that instead of parrying it. It's probably not good spacing. He teleports at me thinking that I'll Magic Art. This is the... Actually, now that I think about it, this is the only time he's ever teleported at me to like read a Magic Art in this whole game. Which would have full punished, like I said, because it's like 16 frames recovery, right? But I just like waited here, I just kind of anticipated it. And like I said, air-to-air interactions are generally fake. It's generally just air throw just wins. And so it's an air grab tech. Which is like fine, but that's gonna stall out my orb for a few more frames, which is not really what I want. So I start like wave dashing and top stuff, just trying to get some value out of this orb before it dies. I throw out a magic art, mana strike rather even, just desperately to get one more projectile on the screen. He fakes out gun again. That was me doing a safe back hop to not get shot. He's just draining resources, he's draining air options. He's doing wizard shit to me. He throws out gun. He's trying to use gun throw. He's kind of playing like I did in like game 2 and 3. He's trying new stuff, and it's kind of working with his gun throw. It's like kind of a thorn in his side, because instead of having to do this this fake out strat that he's been spamming so much, he can really just like close in on me better with this gun, because you can't parry gun throw, right? And if I block it, that's asynchronous lockdown, because the shot comes out as well, right? So either way he uses gun, he's probably going to get value out of it. But here, he kind of risks wasting bullets a lot less. He's getting sad here. Again, I haven't been talking on it much because talking about it is just not that interesting or educational, because sadness is like not a super well-designed mechanic. But it's important here just to watch the sadness count on both of us, right? That informs a lot of my decisions to super jump in and b-hop and wave dash and stuff like that. Is just to keep this balance in my favor. And normally, because Wizard's Privilege, it just kind of ends up happening that way, where I have better sadness than him. But in a couple games, I end up having to address because of it. Again, I mix up my hover timings again, so they can't really get the lockdown on me. He reads my fastball with a backslash, spends meter on it. That was just kind of not a good play. I guess he probably should have blocked if he was scared of fastball, but he was probably scared of getting block strength and snowballed on. But he had no free cancels left. It was a purple free cancel, so it cost 1 meter. So again, no 1k guts. I geyser him. That one, again, geyser, it's not like the difference really matters, but that's a pretty specific call out beating that foresight, right? Because if he just air dashes, I probably die for that. So geysering against an airborne cowboy is like a bad idea because of how much he is up there, but you do have to do it sometimes for sure to win the match. He shoot dodges there to stay safe from whatever I was plotting, and it ends up having to whip cancel it, and then 3 combo up to stay safe. So he's like down all of his air options and his burst, so I'm kind of fine with that trade, honestly. I can't really punish him very well. I go for like a free cancel 50-50, like Zephyr, right? But I just can't do much about this. I don't know. What he probably did there is he probably parried for the only thing that could have hit him, which was Misinformed. And I force another teleport. Here, he disrespects the air throw for whatever reason, and I down throw him, and I get Icicle off of that. Which he just blocks again. He probably conjure weapon, honestly. I get to be plus off of that. And conveniently enough, that's going to link into these magic darts for lockdown, which I'm going to gust just to make it 100% tight, so that he doesn't like stare me or anything. But if I was getting greedy there and I expected him to block, I could have like super jumped, I could have like flame waved, I could have missile formed, all kinds of stuff just to keep the string going. He just parries that. I'm getting my magic darts parried a lot more now. He's kind of warmed up. He was +1 because I whipped a block there, so I just have to keep blocking. Ankle cutters me, which is weird, and then I could just get my jump called out and just unlucky. You know how it is. And then, because he doesn't want to spend meter, I think he's realized that he needs 1k cuts, he just goes straight into Impale here. But I DI it terribly because I'm a dumbass. Again, no DI would have been better than down DI there. He was just barely within range to get the burst cancel there. And so now he's going to route as first safe as he can. And now he's going to Impale. Impale this time. And then he gets the... I end up saving my burst. I do this a lot. Gold burst, bursting away these meaties is really good as Wizard, because you don't want to be playing disadvantage, right? You want to be playing neutral, because neutral is advantage for you. And so, like, you can even think of it like this. Like, it's all the more reason not to spend your burst if you've already taken like 3,000 damage, because your opponent's probably going to try and drop it to get these Okizeme situations. Just get plus range, just get block pressure like this if they're good, right? So you can just save it for here, and on reaction, instead of blocking, just burst, right? It gives you a tiny bit of meter, it gives you like enough space, and it just lets you play neutral again. You just don't have to play the full block string BS. You can just gold burst and just be free. Now, it makes your neutral more risky, sure, but like if I have the life lead like this, I can stall for as long as I want, right? I'm about to get orb. I'm about to press orb tether and go to the skybox. Like, fuck you, right? I don't have to play your game. That's exactly what I do. That just gets soft blocked. Again, that's just to extend orb's duration. Just get more meat. I've said it enough at this point. Go for Ghost Seer, that'd be like gun and stuff. Always approachable. I get some crazy lockdown here, which he ends up having to use his foresight to teleport it out. I lose a free cancel here, but that's whatever. The more important thing is that he's far away and can keep stalling out orb. I break the. This is kind of a funny play. The orb tether made me safe enough to break the foresight while spawning an orb dart and being unpunishable. That's kind of funny. He dashes through the orb dart. Cowboy's diagonal dash is so annoying. I don't want to get my whole orb sword parried. I'm fine giving him a little meter, but not that much meter. And that he gets grabbed here, because I think he was planning to go for another parry, but I think what he didn't see, it was like a hover dash grab is what I went for there, if I remember correctly. Okay, so that's game 1 of the reset. I'm gonna let game 2 of the reset mostly speak for itself. There's not much crazy here that went on that I haven't been over already. If you have been paying attention, you'll see the pattern right now. That was a shift right there. First combo ready. Restand. This was kind of a dumb drop. I lose on my own offense here. He goes for like an insane backslash, because backslash is just like a broken button. He phases through me because he flips it, because of the flippies bug I was talking about. And my Tum Slap ends up whipping. He gets a combo for that, so that's unfortunate. I could have just grabbed him there, but I'm like continuing it a little bit longer. Oh no, okay, and this is where he gets the 1 get guts combo. There's a way to DI this so it's not so insane. I do not know it, do not tell me, I will not listen. My eyes just glaze over when we talk about complicated DI. But this was ugly, this was not fun. $7,000 damage. He whiff cancels here, thinking he can maybe get out of it somehow, but this whiff cancel ended up costing him the game. This was the nail in his coffin. He couldn't make it back after this. If he hadn't whiff canceled here, we might have been telling a very different story, and we might very well have sat in Grand Final for 6 hours, but he whiff cancels my roll read here. I jumped back to call out his roll in, thinking he's in disadvantage, he doesn't want to get air thrown here, so I get greedy on my own offense, and this time it works. This was a fun little combo route I cooked up where you jump into Geyser and stick cancel. Normally this works, but he DI'd well and was just spaced out well enough that normally you get the inwards hit mana strike, and you can keep comboing into way more off of that, because that's a lot of damage and not very many hits. It looks like 6 hits, it looks like the combo I was trash talking earlier, but 2 of those hits are Conjure Storm and one counts as 1 for scaling. So like what I'm saying is if I hadn't messed this up it would have been a ton of damage, but it ends up not quite being enough. I get aggressive with Spark Bomb. I almost threw this Spark Bomb. You'll see in a second. I detonate it, which does a tiny bit of self-damage, and I have less health than him. So if this game goes all the way to time from here, I will lose. dies to chip damage from the geyser, because he was parrying for fastball missile form. And I ended up taking the game off of that. So yeah, the rest of that I'm just going to kind of leave unspoken. If you've been paying attention so far, I think you'll be able to pick out the patterns and see what's going on. If you have any questions about plays or advice or just game opinions or whatever, please let me know in the comments. And if you're trying to teach someone Wizard, trying to teach someone who's wanting to get better at this game, just high level Wizard, or just how to really think about it in general, then please link in this video, because it means a lot to me, and I'd really appreciate being able to educate the next generation of players on this. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.